Okay, I switched my microphone. Let me try that again. What's up, everyone? Thank you all for joining. We got Gonzaga big monitor, which is the one game we've got really at this point to monitor. We got special guest Matthew Winick joining us. I want to make sure everyone can hear me loud and clear. Let's get the chat popping. Houston's crushing Idaho. I'm monitoring the Gonzaga game, so wanted to get this fired up now. I know it's already 11:49 Eastern. But how's everyone doing? Can y'all hear me? Nate says I'm muted. That's not chill. Okay. Wanjo can hear me. 34 people already? Okay. Yeah, Nebraska crushed Troy. It started out good. They were hitting some shots, but the turnovers, too many turnovers, Nebraska can do that too. They're just so swarming, and you lost track of Sanford far too many times. But it was fun while it lasted. Shout out Troy for a great season. Hey Alex, thank you so much. Thank you, child of God. Up to the day, it has to be high point. But VCU, what a game. Those two games were just unreal. Wisconsin loss absolutely devastating, but at least Duke didn't cost me my hair. Oh, that's my last job. What up? Yeah, what a game that was. We're gonna break it all down. Matthew will be here in a second. If you guys don't know him, he is extremely sharp. Knows about every team, understands schematics super well. So I'm really excited to have him on and talk about a crazy slate. Probably we'll talk about the crazy slate first, just kind of break down what happened today, answer questions you guys have, and then look ahead to tomorrow. Today was one of the best March Madness days in a while, right? There were some boring days last year. Ryan, thank you so much. That means a lot. I don't think I'm there yet, but that's the goal. I would love to be there one day. Yeah, today was hype. Is Hubert gone? You got to give him the benefit of the doubt without Caleb, right? Without Caleb, I don't know if you can really, knock him. That's your best player. That's your 5-star freshman. That's your number 4 pick. It would have been great if they won a game in the tournament without Caleb. They weren't 6 seed good without Caleb. They just weren't. They were like an 8-9 probably at best. Star was awesome. Dixon's young. He'll get better. Trimble had a real solid career. Obviously, that moment against Duke will always live in Carolina lore. But was this team that good? Stevenson started playing better down the stretch. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I have Gonzaga in every one of my Survivor entries, so I might start to tweak a little bit if they don't pull away a little bit. I was thinking about playing St. Louis. How about those Billikens? What a performance. And what's crazy is there's a lot of good offenses in the SEC. I know Georgia's played a lot of high-scoring games, but St. Louis is going to score like 135 points in this game. That's really interesting, and that I'm like not that surprised by that. Yeah, I mean, Georgia's had some awesome moments this year, but yeah, obviously struggling to guard a bit. Here we go. We have our special guest here, Matthew Winick, who I've never spoken to live, even though we've been friends on Twitter for a while. Matt, thanks so much for joining me.
You got it. This should be a
I can't hear. It might be my problem.
You got me? No, yes, maybe so.
Okay. I have double audio situation going on right now. Give me a second. I have my stream on another tab and I can't find it. Where is it?
Too many tabs.
I think we're good. Say something again.
How's it going? Can you hear me?
Yes. Okay, we're good.
Perfect.
My boy Pierre did pick Georgia the Final Four. I think they could have had a stab at Michigan on their best day. But okay, let me reset. Let me properly welcome our guest, Matthew Winick. I said this before you were on camera, but you are one of the absolute sharpest people in the college basketball space right now. What you did with Basket Under Review this year, your pod with Brian Ralph, so awesome. The work you do in the portal. Because my brain is filled with so much about college basketball, when I come across someone who I know knows more than me, I'm just always so impressed. So thank you for being here. And can you quickly introduce yourself, tell everyone where they can find your stuff?
Yeah, Matthew Winick at Matthew Winick on Twitter at Basket Under Review is where all my work, at least content, public facing is. Yeah, college basketball 24/7 every day, all the time. I haven't really looked at myself in the mirror today. I really need a haircut, so I need college basketball season to end, so I can get that haircut that I really need. But no, I mean, when it's college basketball day like today, like this is what we do it for, right? This is why we love the sport so much. This is an awesome day of hoops.
Do you have a favorite game, favorite moment of today?
Oh, it's got to be the Chase Johnston half court like pull up in the middle of a game on transition. Like, I mean, I've watched enough Chase Johnston going back to the Stetson days, Stetson, Florida Gulf Coast, Liberty. He'll do that. They didn't play him this year really that much, and I don't know why. Like his minutes like got cut in half, and I guess they were just saving him. He's like Mariano Rivera, like 3-point shooters. I don't know.
Yeah, did you monitor High Point a lot this season? To be honest, I didn't watch them before their conference tournament. How surprised for a team that didn't play a top 100 opponent all year to out rebound Wisconsin and to look that good for the guards to be able to create. I know Wisconsin's not the best defensive team, but how impressed were you with this team and how surprised were you?
Yeah, well, they beat Furman, I think, by like 25 on the opening day. They did like the field of 68 opening tip off, and those teams played. And it was supposed to be a good one. And it was Alex Wilkins, who's the star point guard for Furman. It was his first ever college game. I think Furman had like 30 turnovers. It was something absurd like that. And ever since then, like they were just so inflated in power rankings that anytime you watched them play, like especially in Big South play, like they were 30 something point favorites over Gardner Webb. And it was like, you're just all these college basketball games competing for time on my computer screen. Why would I watch a game where a team's supposed to win by 30? So that's why I didn't get to see as much of them as I should have, but really good basketball team, obviously.
So seeing how fired up Coach was post game and the point he made about, we didn't move anywhere. We would win all these games, we wouldn't move up in the metrics because that's the way they're kind of set up. And John Fendler, who's a private account on Twitter, but very cynical and sarcastic, but extremely smart and makes some great points. And he said something. His sentence was like, there's too much nuance in conference play that the metrics can't fully capture a High Point or Miami, because Miami clearly a good basketball team because they've lost one game and they just beat SMU, right? But if you filter out Miami's games against everyone except for quad 4 opponents, that's when they look at like a top 50 team. That's probably more accurate to where they are. I think High Point is probably in that conversation where, you go on the road at Presbyterian, like that's just it's a familiar program, like small gym, like you can't, that's something that KenPom doesn't fully capture, that kind of nuance. So do you have a comment on that?
Yeah, I got another one for you that like, it's interesting you say that. It just crossed my mind like 10 minutes ago, where I probably watched most of St. Louis's last 10 games and they just weren't good. And I'm like, well, what's wrong with St. Louis? Like, clearly they're struggling. Something's wrong. The problem was that I just sat there, realized I was watching Georgia get absolutely throttled by them, is St. Louis is playing all these A-10 teams twice, and in Dayton's case, a third time. And they're such a unique team, such a unique scheme that like you see them enough times, you're like, okay, well now we know how to handle this player, and now we know how to handle this action. And St. Louis killed everybody the first time around, and then they struggled the second and third times. With a High Point, with the Miami, you saw Miami, every single game down the stretch of their season was a close game because they're a unique team. They play a very specific brand of basketball. When you see it a second time, I think that it makes these really, really dominant mid-major teams kind of underrated down the stretch, because you're target on your back one, which Travis Steele talked about that, and then just like see the scheme 2 or 3 times, and now you've started to figure it out a little bit.
Have you ever gotten the Max Strus lookalike? Someone said you look like Max Strus.
Oh, I'll take it. I mean, there was that picture of him the other day not looking so hot. But again, I really need a haircut. But I'll take Max Strus.
Hey, the lettuce looks nice. We'll figure all that kind of thing out once the tournament ends. So this was an interesting question from Nate. Anything you think Wisconsin and BYU could have done differently? BYU, Vocatitis, just such an issue. Like AJ did everything he could. Kosic hit some shots, wasn't perfect, but curious if you think BYU or KY could have done anything differently.
Yeah, I mean, Wisconsin just kind of ran into a ridiculous last 5 minutes from High Point. High Point played the best 5 minutes of their season in the most important 5 minutes of their season. And for Wisconsin, the game plan was there. Nick Boyd got to his left hand over and over again down the stretch and scored. They just, threes beat twos, and High Point made threes down the stretch. And then for BYU, so many one-way players. I remember when they got Kennard Davis in the offseason, and they got guys that didn't even play, like Tyler Moross, a transfer from Idaho, who was sat at the back of the bench for this team. And it was it's good 3-point shooting next to AJ DeBonce. You can't have one-way players in 2026 unless you're unbelievable at that one thing. Unless you're a Chase Johnston level shooter. There are no 3-point specialists in power conference basketball anymore. You have to be either really tall or good at something else. You can't just shoot threes. You can't just be a defender. BYU had guys like Diumade and Kadeem Mboop who are the
careful on Kadeem Boop. I love Kadeem Boop.
But he can't score or dribble or pass at all. Only defense. You can't do one thing only in power conference basketball and play big minutes.
Okay, here's a only can shoot guy that might make a difference tomorrow. Noam Davrat. He's going to hit 3 threes in 12 minutes.
Okay, that's fine. But in 12 minutes. Another perfect example, Brandon Hausen on Iowa. Only can shoot, doesn't play. Because Ben McCollum's a really smart coach, and he's like, well, I got this 6'4" guy who's a monster shooter, but can't dribble, can't pass, not a playmaker, and not a defender. I can't play him. And I think, you talk, I do a lot of portal work. That's going to be a big thing in the portal for me for high major teams. You can only do one thing. You're not a top 7 rotation player on a high major team. What's
so interesting about the Kennard Davis thing is he, was supposed to be 3-and-D, and he didn't. His 3-point volume was just low. It finally scaled up around the Big 12 tournament, and that's when BYU looked pretty good for a stretch of games. But I think the loss of Dawson Baker was underrated because he can dribble, pass, shoot, and older guy. I think he was probably a better player than Kennard Davis for this team. So that was tough too. But hats off to AJ. I as someone who was skeptical of, I made a video about this, but as someone who was skeptical of is this dude just about his numbers, just trying to score? Can he pass? Is there going to be a 3-point shot? Who is he as a prospect? I couldn't be any more impressed with how he handled everything that happened. I don't know if you've commented there on AJ.
Yeah, for sure. I think he'll be better in the NBA too, because the college spacing really hurt his ability to get to the rim. Yeah. If he's getting to the rim more, maybe he's just not amazing at getting to the rim, but in non-conference play, it was easy. If he has more space and get to the rim, and how many times can you remember a half-court AJ DeBonce dunk? I don't remember. I remember them early in the year, but in Big 12 play, once they were here's a 7-footer sitting in the paint, no defensive 3 in the key. He's gonna be really good in the NBA.
Well, if he was on Arizona, he probably would have had 80 dunks this year in the half court.
Yeah, well, he chose BYU, so.
Yeah. Also on Nick Boyd, there were some possessions there where he would score within the first 7 seconds of a half court possession. It's crazy with how good their backcourt was playing that they lost. The thing with Wisconsin was we knew that the guard play and the 3-point shooting of the bigs and that kind of variance, they had that high ceiling. They showed that by who they beat in Big Ten play. But when that was their, when that's how they guarded, and they didn't shoot the 3-ball bat. I'm pretty sure they hit 36% of their threes today. Not a ton of volume, but it's just crazy that they lost in that's the tournament. That was a team playing such good basketball before that game.
I picked Wisconsin, and obviously they were the favorite. They were a double-digit favorite, whatever. I should have thought more about the fact that because High Point was so small, they were going to switch a lot. And you're not Wisconsin's bigs were never going to take advantage of those switches because Rapp and Belauskas only shoot threes.
Right. Yeah.
And that's the end of the reality is, even if this was Illinois, who their bigs to shoot threes, but they can bang down low, that's a different ballgame. You can't hide a 6'2" guard on an Ivisic brother, but you can hide it on a Rapp or a Belauskas.
Let's talk about this matchup. I always thought that Georgia would have had a better chance just because Somto just such a big body, but the way St. Louis looks offensively on a neutral court right now against high major athletes, Georgia's a pretty athletic team. I understand there's going to be some real problems of Robbie against Adai, Merez, and Yaxel, but is there a world that this team can just score 90 points? Is Michigan ready to play a team that plays like this?
I'm checking right now to see if Michigan's played any zone this year. Yeah, they've played 2% of their possessions in zone. They should play zone. I don't know how you prepare for a Josh Hurts offense in a day and a half. That's such a tall task. And Michigan is like a really unique defensive team that they play drop coverage and they switch. So they'll let middle creation and they'll also like they could get burned on backdoors. I think if you just play zone, tell Mara and Morez Johnson just have their darn hands up around the rim and like force St. Louis to shoot 70% of your shots from three, that's how you just avoid any issue. If you're trying to drill in like a 9-man personnel scout on St. Louis and Josh Hurts offense in a day and a half, I think that's where you run into an issue.
So this is not an apples to apples comparison because this team does not shoot the three like St. Louis or run, even though on their offense they're a 5. But I'm making a weird comparison of St. Louis to Northwestern as just a team where they're moving around a lot and there's a lot to prepare for. And Northwestern scored 44 points in the first half against Michigan at home. And that was like one of those random Michigan games, which we've seen where it's like, then in the second half, they score 52 points. Every shot's a dunk, like they're Michigan. But I think there's some parallel there. Am I a little crazy for that?
No, and in the same way, like you zoning Northwestern is, I mean, obviously Nick Martinelli can score in the middle of the zone, but that's fine. It's okay to let a team score in the middle of zone if it's 2-pointers, and it's okay to let teams shoot a million threes if they can't get those backdoor cuts. And like St. Louis is most dangerous when you're running at them at the 3-point line and they beat you and then they're playing 5-on-4, or Robbie Avila finds a cutter because you're overplaying for the 3-pointer. Like I think segging off of them is the best thing you can do. And because Michigan's so huge, segging off of them still means a good contest, and they're not going to hit that many shots.
So real quick on Wisconsin, one last thought on Wisconsin. Guard hasn't been great in the tournament. Not at all. I think this is a stretch just because of the kind of basketball they're playing. But do you think there's a chance that not this year, but that if they don't start to make runs?
It's when you play the way that they do, it's just like you just leave it up to chance too much. Like in an era, in a year, and I've been harping on this for over a month, is like the best teams win the rebounding battle and get to the rim. Like Wisconsin hasn't, even though like they're an inverted offense, their guards get to the rim, but it's not a sustainable way to play. Like you're making yourself exposed to these, a guy gets red hot in the last 5 minutes and knocks you out thing. Like, maybe a bit of it's guard, but it's not like a Mike White situation where they just didn't come prepared at all today. Like they were prepared, they just didn't play better.
What was I gonna say? I thought I had one more Wisconsin thought. I guess I'm not. Anyways, let's talk about Duke Siena. Did you watch Siena much this season? Do you have any thoughts on not going to the bench? And before we get into Duke, let's just talk about Siena. How impressed are with that performance?
Yeah, so Siena, their starting power forward started every game, was ruled ineligible right before the MAC tournament. So he's now missed 4 games. Just out of nowhere, like their leading rebounder, shooting 67% from 2, just like boom, bye, gone. They're starting big, so they're starting 4, gone. They're starting center, who only played 9 games this year, this like D2 transfer from Australia, Tasman Goodrick, like probably the best rebounder in the entire conference, out after 9 games. Like both of their starting front court guys got hurt very early in the year. So, or one more recently. So they were down their front court guys, and their best players are their guard, Schultz, and then Doty, who had the really, really good game. And you're winning at half against Duke. You can't sit anyone. Come on. I think he did the right thing. Obviously, you get tired and you get tired, but you got to ride with your guys when you're pulling off a 2-time ever 16-over-1 upset. Do you disagree?
No, I agree. I missed the first 10 minutes of the game, and when I started watching and just the way Siena was eating clock and the way they were able to generate looks, my favorite play in the first half was they fed the post, and my boy caught it and just slung it to the opposite side wing, catch and shoot from a couple feet behind the line, drilled it, and I was like, it put him up 11. I was like, hold on, we might have a game here. And man, I posted this clip on Twitter. They had it was an inbounds play, right? They pass it to the big guy, or flips it to the guard, slips the screen, has a layup, dunks it, misses it, get the offensive rebound, miss another dunk. Isaiah Evans dunked the other way, 11. And that you kind of had a feeling after that point, like they could have been up 17 with 17 minutes left.
their big man is like a former Iowa walk-on who played. This is my favorite stat. One of my favorite stats of college basketball all year. So that big man that missed the dunk, Riley Mulvey, was a walk-on at Iowa, played there for 3 years, moved to Siena after Fred McCaffrey left. Has played in his career more than 30 minutes 5 times in his career, right? Mm-hmm. 5 games ago, 4 games ago, 3 games ago, 2 games ago, and last game. Wow. And the last 2, he's played all 40 minutes. After never playing 30 for 4 years, he's now played in 5 straight games. I guess now his career is over. So that's a good way to go out, I guess.
You know what's so funny? So Brendan Coyle, third-year player there. My boy Pierre, whose show I produced, shout out Pierre, he was like, what's up with this 6'7" guy in Siena who only takes threes and is shooting 29% from deep? And I was like, hold up, he shot 39% last year. Like it's just a long slump. And he went 4 for 9 from deep today, which I thought was pretty funny.
Yeah, the 3-point shooter slump stuff. Like some of these guys, this is such a random poll. I'm going to be very short with this, but there's a guy in Illinois State who last year shot 47% from 3 and over 100 attempts. This year he shot 23%. How do you even do that? Less than half. 3-point shooters are crazy sometimes. Don't take a guy seriously just because he had a really good year of shooting the ball.
So let's talk Duke. I'll just throw it to you before I say anything. Where are you at on Duke after this performance? And I mean, close games. They won the ACC tournament, but played close games.
It was bad. They don't look good right now. Who is their second best player? Not in terms of like who should be the second best player, but who is right now playing the second best on the team?
Caden Boozer?
Yeah, that's so bad.
Yeah.
That's not good. That's a big problem.
So here's my biggest thing with Caden Boozer. And I said this when Foster went down. I said, first, it's like, do I just trust that, how many minutes did he play? He played 39 minutes. Do I think a team can win 6, no matter what? Do I think a team can win 6 games with Caden Boozer playing 36, 40 minutes a night? Like if Foster's back, I was like, I don't think so. But Caleb Foster was so good at these things. 1, just perimeter defense, screen navigation, point of attack. 2, just like composure on the ball, functioning the offense, which is why there were people kind of who were hard on him sometimes because it's Duke, you're a point guard. They want a little more razzle dazzle. It's not really his thing. Against Louisville, that game at Louisville, they were down at half. Like he was more aggressive that game, getting to the rim. He has that chill out boys 3 in him where you know what I'm saying? Like he was a good 3-point shooter this year and wasn't searching for that shot, but it seems like he would hit big threes. And the thing with Caden is you can't ask him to play like Caleb Foster because they're different players. Caden is best in the pick and roll, being a bit more aggressive. And sure, he's like played well. He didn't even have a turnover in the game. And he was efficient, but there's just a part of me that you're not the best team in college basketball if Caden Boozer's like, if you're relying so much on Caden Boozer pick and roll, you know?
Yeah. Their pick and roll rate is way up. And ever since Caleb Foster and Pat Gongba went down, because they're not running Gongba post ups. And yeah, like Caleb Foster is a different type of point guard. You know who's one of the very, very best pick and roll defenses in the country and just completely took one of the best pick and roll players out of the entire game today?
I'm too small on screen. I'm going to go full screen so I can do it. TCU.
That's correct. That is going to be a little bit of an offensive issue for Duke. Now, hopefully they scout TCU a little bit more than they scouted Siena. But if TCU is just completely blowing up ball screens, they're going to make Cameron Boozer a playmaker. And it's going to make Duke's other guys like Homenya and Isaiah Evans and Dame Sarr hit. They have to hit threes to win this game.
Also with the elevated pick and roll rate, when I think Duke looks the best when we get a lot of Gongba and Malik Brown like triggering stuff, Isaiah Evans off the ball, and then Cam just eating up space, like either getting in the post touch or even just crashing. Like I'm thinking in TCU, like if Caden gets the ball out of his hands to Cam on the short roll, like he's pretty damn good at that. He did have 5 turnovers today. Siena was stripping and ripping at him a little bit. But and what a block by Dame Sarr. That was a hell of a play. Also, I'm jumping around here, but Darren Harris is in the Joey Baker. I'm trying to think. There's got to be a couple other guys. They come in for 8 to 12 minutes a game. Your job is to shoot threes, but I don't know if it's something about the Duke. If there's too much pressure being on such a good team and having one job, But these guys, Darren Harris just doesn't shoot it well enough to get these minutes. He just isn't an impactful player in these minutes.
Alex O'Connell. That's
Alex O'Connell before he went to Creighton. Yes.
Yeah. Another story for another day, but they played a team in Toronto when I went to school there, and he got a black eye from our big man. It's a whole situation. Duke played like a really aggressive pick and roll defense the other day without Foster, without Gongba, and that's Florida State. And they turned it over on 22% of their possessions. Now, and they only shot 29% from three. And their saving grace was they grabbed over half their misses. They got 22 offensive rebounds. But TCU is a rare team that does trap ball screens, does force turnovers, and also doesn't allow that many offensive rebounds. So the difference is Duke can't shoot 29% from three, or they will lose like they almost did to Florida State.
What would you expect the Duke TCU line to be if you haven't looked at it?
I think it's 11.5 or 12. It's 13 on Ken Pom. I think it's a little bit below that because it's accounting for the injuries.
That's pretty big.
Yeah. I mean, also, I think 140 points or something like that is also a lot of points.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I could see Duke making that TCU could score less than 60 points. There are moments where when TCU looks really good, and it's just balanced scoring, everyone's getting involved. Like a play that really encapsulates what makes TCU so good is the last play of the game. Not many teams are able to execute like that in the half court and get a shot at the rim. They've always been good at that under Jamie Dixon, whether it was Jacoby Coles or Lampkin. Like they pass the ball on the interior. They drive hard to the basket, but you need to hit some perimeter shots, especially against, when they play in the Iowa States, the Houstons of the world. That's why they usually lose those games. But there's because of how good their defense is and because they got a lot of guys, like that's why they elevate in certain games. And I'll never get that TCU Arizona game out of my head from the Mathurin team because that was kind of similar. If you're like, hold up, how is this team a 9 seed?
Yeah. There's no reason for Duke to lose this game, but there's also no reason for this to be a double-digit game. It should probably be within 10.
We already got to this slew. Someone asked, like, where was it? Did Georgia even scout St. Louis? Do you think they were underprepared, or do you think it was just St. Louis was just too damn good for them?
It was so bad. They were very underprepared. It was not they're jumping at guys that can't shoot and they're underplaying guys that can. Like they didn't try to understand the nuances. The thing with St. Louis is, I started at the beginning of the show to talk about how you can't be a one-note guy. Like all their offensive players are good at two things and really bad at two things. And they just didn't know who was good at what. Like, it's not that hard. It's like, I'm assuming you've played NBA 2K in your life. Like I play with my roommate. My roommate always has the little card up top that shows what the player is good at, like their inside grade and their athletic. He knows who to shoot with, who to pass with. Like Georgia didn't think about that with their opponent. They just didn't know who could shoot, who could pass, who could dribble, except for Avila. And it was just ugly scouting defensively.
Any inkling on Gongba coming back for the TCU game or next weekend? Or
if you need a roll around, you're not playing in a day and a half. I refuse to believe that you're playing in a day and a half if you're rolling around on a cart.
Appreciate the chat. Sorry, I'm not catching up yet. Foster's not coming back. I do think, to answer your question, I think Isaiah Evans is Duke's second best player. But you're right. The ball is just in Caden's hands so much, and he has been good enough that it's hard to say that. What was the next thing I wanted to ask about? Alex O'Connell. Other games from today where I have commentary on. Let's talk about Louisville. I think South Florida is everyone's trendy pick. Great comeback. Obviously just awful 3-point shooting, especially to start the game. Enes goes 0 for 11. And Isaac McNeely had a big Isaac McNeely game. He's a guy that I don't really consider a big game player, but you got to give him credit. He went 7 for 10 from deep. Any chance against Michigan State?
Do you use shot quality ever?
No, I wish.
Do you know what how the shot quality score works?
Yeah.
You know what the shot quality score was in that game? 101 to 82 for South Florida.
Wow.
They won by 19 in shot quality. Obviously, shot quality is not like, oh, I said that South Florida's going to win, and shot quality said they're going to win. Like, yeah, Louisville won because they hit shots and South Florida didn't. But South Florida, just like I put out this stat on Twitter, the second team in NCAA tournament history to lose a game with 18 plus offensive rebounds and 15 plus steals. The other one was Mississippi Valley State in the 90s. Like, that's how unprecedented it was of how many second chances or added chances off of steals and offensive rebounds. They just couldn't shoot at all. So when you think about how bad Louisville was in the glass, and now they're getting Michigan State, and they don't have the pressure to really get at Jeremy Fears, which is the biggest thing for me. It's like, can you blow up Jeremy Fears' action? Because he's the only guy on Michigan State that can make plays for others. And they're not going to do that. So I think Michigan State wins easily.
I agree with you. Let's talk about Arkansas. Quick thoughts on Arkansas. I thought it could have been a potential sleepy spot against a good defensive team, but they looked really good. And now you catch a break in the bracket with High Point, even though I'm not – any team can randomly get hot, but on paper it was a break in the bracket to not have to play Wisconsin.
Yeah, I think that they were going to kill Wisconsin either way, just because, they were going to get those bigs and switches. Malik Ewan, 99th percentile offensive rating this year.
Wow.
Nick Pringle's a better defender, but offensively, like, Malik Ewan is really, really good. Probably underrated, and also a really good fit for being a role man for Darius Acuff because he can clean up on the glass. I'm pretty sure I saw that he's leading the team in dunks, which I didn't expect. And really good player. I think if Pringle comes back, they should still start Ewan. And he's going to be a big issue for High Point down.
Thoughts on this Gonzaga performance? It's so weird for me still that they're just like not a better offensive team. I get it without Huff out there and with their lack of shooting. Mark Few sacrificed some of the offensive stuff by getting more depth, getting older, getting more defensive minded. And Kennesaw's played really good ball as of late. But any thoughts on what's going on there?
Yeah, I mean, Mario Sansuperi and Tyon Grant Foster are 5 of 20. So those are your second and third best players. And you're not going to play well if your second and third best players are 5 for 20. It's definitely not a great sign moving forward, but also Kennesaw, their Sweet 16 matchup with Purdue is Purdue, right? If assuming everyone wins, but they're supposed to win. Because I'm assuming Gonzaga is going to beat Texas either way.
Are you? Because that was my next question. Because somebody asked.
Texas is bad. Yeah. Just BYU was worse. Texas has played 2 awful defenses so far, and
Texas is an awful defense, though.
Texas is also an awful defense, but I don't know. I first of all, Mark Few has the size to handle Vokatitis in a way that BYU and NC State did not.
Slight pushback.
Foul trouble.
Yeah. Is Ike that good of a defender?
Well, he's big.
We're going to see a little Diagne.
Yes, that's definitely not how you say his name. I don't know how to say it. I can't correct you, but it's definitely not that. He's an amazing defender. He'll play some minutes. I have no faith in Texas's ability to defend a team where they actually have more than 2 options. I just don't think it's going to go well.
Yeah.
Anyway, point being, I think Kennesaw State is more athletic than Purdue. So if Gonzaga is struggling with Kennesaw's physicality, which they are, it's what's happening right now, that's not really going to be a problem in the rest of the region. Yeah,
I just worry if Gonzaga is a sharp enough offensive team to Texas is bad because they foul a lot defensively, and they're just Jordan Pope's little, Vokatitis is a little slow-footed sometimes, and they're down Traore, who is a pretty good defensive big. Is Gonzaga built to exploit that? And Vokatitis is a freaking game wrecker. And I don't know. I'm a little I don't know.
My big thing is does Ike get 2 fouls in 3 minutes? That's where the real issue comes for me. If that doesn't happen, I mean, listen, St. Mary's, obviously their bigs aren't as functional as Vokatitis, but they're huge. And Gonzaga didn't really have issues with that this year when they played. And I mean, I guess Gonzaga had issues with Michigan's bigs, but other than that, it's not like they didn't play anybody in the non-con. They did beat Alabama by double digits, and obviously Braden Huff was on the roster, and that changes things. But it's not like they don't have a second gear. They just they didn't have it today.
Well, I'm box score watching a little bit, but Mario St. Superi, I didn't watch some of these WCC games, but like definitely had some games where he doesn't really do much. And like Braden Smith, redshirted, was pretty good at Colgate. Like he was supposed to be. I know it hasn't really worked. He barely played today, but like he was supposed to be do a little bit of the Nemhard stuff, and that really hasn't been there. Superi's a kind of a different player. You know, he wants to shoot it more. And then I don't know. They go to Grant Foster ISOs, which is like a little clunky. It's like I don't know. It's like kind of the Caleb Battle thing. Although Caleb I think did a way better job of just fitting in because he can like space the floor. It's just clunky sometimes with the Zags, and I don't know. It's just so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, keep in mind that they play the same way Arizona does. It's just Arizona's better at positions. And my point being, like, yeah, they're not going to shoot a lot of threes, and they're not going to make a lot of threes. The issue is like today where they're shooting, like, I'm not going to do the math, but like in the mid 40s and 2-point percentage. Like you have to be above 50 to beat a good team.
Yeah. My boy Will Rywalt from 2 different accounts. Shout out Will for being thorough. Wants to know if UCLA is going to be healthy. Will, I talked straight to Trent Perry, and Trent Perry told me everyone's healthy. So UCLA is very alive. Any thoughts on that matchup against UCF? Stillwell and some of those guys can be problematic on the glass, and Kugel and folks can like get downhill and make plays. But UCLA is playing fantastic ball right now, so I lean towards that.
For whatever reason, this like one game of John Bull destroying Texas Tech when JT Toppin was healthy is like burned into my brain. And I'm like, well, UCLA is tiny. And what if this is like a John Bull game? And I don't think it is. And that's why I think UCLA is going to win. But what if?
The sickos will be looking at the John Bull points and rebounds lines tomorrow.
No, don't do that. But I'm just like, John Bull is not about points and rebounds. It's just like he's so darn huge that if you try to drive at him, and that's the thing, UCLA is like a big floater team. Like try getting a floater over John Bull. That's not easy.
I'm going to draw a parallel between UCF and Texas A&M as teams from power leagues who kind of stumbled to the finish line and are just like a little forgettable just because of how many good teams there are in their league. That, you know, they're in the whole point is to get to the tournament, and they're in the tournament, and you don't want to put too much stock in them not beating Arizona neutral, losing by 1 to Baylor, like talented team, you know, losing in overtime to Oklahoma State. Is UCF a team that could just randomly look really good and beat UCLA by double digits? I feel like that kind of thing. I think UCLA is live for like a run in this tournament for sure, but I also think UCF could like look really good tomorrow, just kind of out of nowhere.
I have 2 questions. If someone wanted to back UCF or be a UCF believer, which you're kind of doing now, 2 questions. 1, who's their best player? And 2, what is the team really good at?
The team is really good at hunting threes in transition. I think they've looked the best this year when they're like playing fast and you're hitting Jordan Burks for transition threes and Kugel's being aggressive and Folks is playmaking. But when it's bogged down a bit in the half court, they don't grade as a great defensive team. An interesting note about them though is they were a great offensive rebounding team in non-con, not a good offensive rebounding team in the Big 12. It didn't really translate, but like, so their offensive rebounding percentage on the season is 34.4. In just Big 12 play, it was 29.9. So that kind of shows me something just reading between the lines. It's like a matchup versus UCLA is one where they could be really good on the offensive glass and look like just the more bigger physical team, like what kind of Texas was against BYU. It could be like a situation like that.
Or, in other words, the John Bull game.
Yeah.
But I'm never going to be overly enthusiastic about a team that doesn't do one thing really well. Like,
right.
You did a very good job of deciphering what they're good at, but it's not like something they're top 20, top 50 in the country at. Sure. And like Themis Falks, I think, is their best player, but he's not one of the 30 or 40 best players in the tournament. Right. So I'm never going to be over enthusiastic about a team that doesn't have a specialty and doesn't have a superstar.
Quick thoughts on Davis Fogel, by the way. I think
love him.
Yeah, he's good.
Oh, he's going to be so good next year. Oh my, he's like all, I don't even know what, I guess they're in the Pac-12 next year. He's going to be all Pac-12.
Unless Gonzaga chokes this game and Mark Few Rage retires.
Oh my, is it close? Oh, it's close again.
It's 67-60. My stream's like a little lagged right now.
I got the stat feed on, so I will not tell you what's happening. My largest wager of the tournament so far is no 14, 15, or 16 seeds winning in the first round. So this is a little concerning now.
Can you talk to me about this? I didn't know this happened. My boy Draper has this note.
No, I guess John. I don't know. I didn't see that.
Ryan, get on that for us. Let's get a link in the chat with a source there, real quick. I don't know why we're talking about Stefan Vox on day one of the tournament, but talented player. But there was clearly some blame it on Cam. There were some chemistry issues there, and definitely a guy about himself. He's the type of dude that goes in transfers to a bad team and puts up numbers. That's how I look at him. I don't know if you have that kind of thought. You're the portal guy.
Yes. First of all, John Bull says he feels good. That's what Twitter tells me. Stefan Vox's shot selection is garbage. It's trash. I watch him play, and I could tell to someone I was watching a game with, he's going to take a pull-up off the dribble three on this possession. I can feel it. And then he'll do it. The question is, he did that under Kim English. Anyone can, Kim English has no authority.
Yeah.
Will he transfer to a team? Yes, he might just go to a bad team, like you said. Does he make an actually good choice and go to a school with a better shot diet, with a coach that will force him to take specific shots? In which case, I think he could be outstanding. But if he takes the shots he took this year, it'll be the same thing as Providence.
What's up, Kevin? Thanks for joining the stream. I think the top two chalk plays in Survivor tomorrow would be Kansas and Tennessee. I think I'm pretty confident about Kansas to beat Cal Baptist. I think they can defend Dom Daniels well. And then don't know how I feel about them versus St. John's. Not a team you're worried about wasting. And then Tennessee would have to play Virginia and then Iowa State. And as much as I love Miami, Ohio, if SMU was able to kind of have their way on the inside at times and Miami need to hit 16 threes, I think Tennessee is going to be a problem. Any thoughts on those games? Upset alert for either Kansas or Tennessee?
Here's a stat for you. Miami has allowed – Tennessee's the number one offensive rebounding rate team in the country, right? Miami's allowed Tennessee's average once all year, and it was their only loss.
Wow.
So they're undefeated when they have a offensive rebounding rate allowed below Tennessee's average, and they're winless, of course, one game when it's above Tennessee's average. So if Tennessee hits their average, unprecedented for Miami getting a win.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but UMass was probably one of the more athletic teams in the MAC too, right?
Yeah, physical, athletic. And it once again, and we said this earlier, it was their third time playing. So they were like, let's crash the damn boards and maybe we'll actually win this time. And that's what they did. And that's what happened.
I have a strong lean on Utah State. They've just been playing awesome ball. They're underseeded as 9. Villanova hasn't been as good without Matt Hodge. And the Braden Pierce minutes are so brutal. Those are my thoughts on Villanova, Utah State. So Utah State for me.
Yeah, Utah State's the way more talented team. However, Kevin Willard's a better coach, and he has almost a week of prep.
Fair enough. And Haas, not that it always impacts it, but Haas probably leaving, right?
I guess. I mean, it'll be tight. I don't know, but we'll see.
Quick Gonzaga check. It's been at a 7-point game. I'm trying to get the game up here. I got the Hulu 3-day subscription.
Oh, does it have it? I'm on YouTube TV, but I got the stat feed open. I'll switch to the video I'll switch to the video if it's like a one possession and some serious March stuff is happening.
I have Xfinity Stream. That's how I watch games, but I have this Google TV as my side TV, and I can't log into this. I can't download that app on it, so I had to get Hulu to have my second screen activated. Anyways, we're making it.
That's what we do for multiple screens.
And Gonzaga's got the ball here up 5. I don't know if y'all are ahead of me. Gonzaga's selling right now, says Nate.
Double bonus both ways, and Gonzaga's 86% from the line. That's key.
Ben Bentel should have stayed for his junior year. Any thoughts there?
That was like a decade ago. I was in my teens.
The Friar fans are here.
I played with him in 2K. I don't even know.
What other? Okay, I have a question for you. Does A&M handle St. Mary's so well if Morauskas is fine? How much do you think that really impacted the game?
St. Mary's doesn't have a proven point guard. Like Josh Dent's a fun guy, makes a lot of free throws. He turns it over too much. And Mikey Lewis did not develop as a point guard this year. So when you get buckyball and constant pressure for 40 minutes, that was never going to be a good matchup for them this year. If they had like a Marshallonis, or some of their other point guards they've had in the past couple of years, that might have been different, but they didn't. And I think that's why you saw that result.
Yeah, that matchup I thought myself in circles with. I made like a video where I spoke for 12 straight minutes on this game, and I was just like, so Wessels and McKeever scored 0 points. Like, there are some times where St. Mary's is so organized offensively, and they're getting those guys deep post touches, and they're either scoring, getting to the line, getting their own offensive rebound, or finding an open Mikey Lewis and some of these guys who can actually shoot it, unlike last year. That's pretty inexcusable to get 0 points and how many offensive boards? 2 offensive boards from those two combined.
In a way, though, like, isn't that such an impressive Randy Bennett coaching job that he got into a 7 seed with like an unproven point guard and no real big man? That's insane.
Yeah. I mean, they're just kind of an auto 7 seed every year. It seems like 5 or 7. Good years of 5, bad years of 7.
I don't want to spoil anything for you, but I think Gonzaga's fine.
Okay, good. No, I'm not mad about it. I just want to be alive and survive.
Yeah, I think you're good.
But shout out Bucky. Is Buckyball frisky against Houston on an extra day rest?
Yeah.
No, I don't know why I said extra day rest. Houston just played. That was so funny.
No, no. By playing in the SEC and getting killed on the glass over and over again, they can win. Like they played Tennessee game with the two overtimes. I think Tennessee had 55% of their misses, and it still went to 2 overtimes. And part of that's because Tennessee can't score and Houston can, but A&M can compete in games where they get killed in the glass, and that might happen here, but they'll compete.
Do you have concerns about Houston in this tournament?
Yes, because they don't get to the rim, and they become really dependent on their pull-up jumpers falling. And if they're not hitting jumpers, they could lose to A&M. They could lose to whoever else is in their path. And I think they'd lose to Illinois if that ends up being a Sweet 16 matchup.
How do you think heating up the ball on Wagler goes?
I mean, the thing with Illinois is every single player on their roster is a plus passer. So heat up whatever you want, but you don't want any Illinois player making a read in an advantage situation. And they're going to be doing that all game. So not to mention they're going to see over the defense because they have a size advantage at every position. I wouldn't want to blow up ball screens against Illinois, and no one really in the Big 12 does that. Like Northwestern kind of does that. I feel like off the top of my head, Illinois murdered Northwestern. Did I make that up?
They did at home. At Northwestern, it was a game.
A 40-point win at home, 71% assist rate. That's what I think would happen if they played Houston. Like Northwestern blows up the most ball screens in the Big 10, and I just think that Houston blowing up everything in Illinois, like too many tall passers.
Do you like Chase McCarty?
As a long-term piece, is like an impact guy now? No, not really.
He's like a guy that's going to close games for them in this tournament.
That's probably not good.
Yeah.
JoJo Tugler didn't take a leap. Chris Sinak takes horrible shots.
My Houston people told me that the plan was for Tugler to be a guy that you could work through a little bit.
Yes. I think the goal, their ideal world was him taking the Jawan Roberts role of the offense, and he's just not good enough with the ball in his hands to do that.
And that's something that's a rare mis-eval by that staff, because what have they done literally every single year since they became relevant, the Rob Gray year? They were even they had 20 win seasons before that, just like the American wasn't good enough for them to get in. You don't like the way Sampson talks about it, you don't replace Jamal Shed, but the production is replaced by the different guys. But point is, from like Breon Brady to Bryson Gresham, Josh Charlton, they've always had a big that you can play through on the block, even if they're not a superstar. And Chris Sinak, who I know they speak extremely highly of, I think he projects well. Like, to me, it's wild that when Cincinnati went to Allen Fieldhouse, when Mustafa Cham or Baba Miller has Trey White or Bryson Tiller on them, they can go make a play. And Chris Sinak is huge. He's very talented. And the staff, it's obviously crossed their mind, if Tugler's not the guy we can play through the post, can it be Sinak? And every time it's a fader. And it's like, can't you go like up and over, or like, is there a little bit of a spin move in you? Like, it's really wild to me that Chris Sinak wasn't able to be unlocked as an interior scorer, like, at all.
I got a question for you, because Chris Sinak's like 6'11" and athletic, right? Do you think he's taken more 2-point jumpers or rim attempts this year?
2-point jumpers.
By how many?
15.
113. He's taken 113 more 2-point jumpers and rim attempts this year. And I'm supposed to take this team. Like, that is horrible.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I get the concerns with Houston. There's just a part of me that they've been so good in the NCAA tournament. Like, they haven't played a bad NCAA tournament game, I feel like. You know, like they lost to Miami when Nigel Pack hit a zillion threes and, you know, they had injuries other years. Like, they don't really play a bad game in the NCAA tournament. So I'm giving them a little bit of love for that, playing in Houston if they get by A&M. And as jump shot reliant as they are, they win a lot of games playing that way.
Yeah, no, they win a lot of games playing that way, but you think about the ones they lost. Like, the one that comes to my mind is the Kansas game, and obviously it's not Kansas and whatever. But when you can stay at home with them and just force them to shoot over you, like, bad shooting game. And if Kingston Flemings is not a superstar, then like one of Flemings, Uzan, and Sharp has to be a superstar for them to beat very good teams. And obviously it's normally Flemings, but it's not going to happen every game.
I'm all over Iowa tomorrow.
Yeah.
Where are you?
Yeah, I'm on Iowa. I also think that it's going to be like the total's really low. I think they're both like Iowa's going to score pretty comfortably here.
How much of Carter Welling out changes this game?
He's not their best defender, but he's their most disruptive defender. And you want to be disruptive on the ball, especially like Welling's probably their best athlete, which is like saying something. But he's probably their best athlete, and you want athleticism on Bennett Sturtz and Alvaro Folgueras, and you're just not going to get that here. This is just like probably the worst matchup in that like 7, 8, 9, 10 seed range that Clemson could have drawn.
Right. And especially Clemson looks the best when they are making teams play their style. I was like, oh, you want us to play a half-court game and use the whole shot clock?
Here you go.
I'm cool with that. I was so impressed with Iowa's late shot clock offense this year. Like the movement, the passing, the feel. Obviously, when Sturtz just does something himself, it's wild because there's certain games where offensively they struggle to score just simply, but I still think like they can look very good offensively at times.
Yeah.
What was the other? Oh, I remember I had one other interesting note. You know how we always talk about you get out of your league, think like, you know, St. Louis, you know, teams you're familiar with or whatever. When I think about heating up the ball in the Big 12, you have Houston, Iowa State, and TCU. And those are they may not be metrically, I would assume they are the top 3 teams that turning you over in the Big 12.
Probably.
In the Big 10, who are those 3 teams? Iowa, Northwestern, and Nebraska. And this is not a racial comment, but like there is something different about the way that Iowa, Nebraska, and Northwestern swarm and play defense versus there's more speed and power to the way a Lipsy or a Sharp. Is that a kind of a crazy comment by me? Or do you understand what I'm saying in terms of getting outside your league and playing different teams?
Yeah, like I was just talking about how Northwestern is a team that blows up the most ball screens in the Big Ten. When I was talking about Illinois, if they're going to play Houston, it's just a different scheme league. And yeah, blowing up ball screens is one thing, but blowing them up more aggressively, and then also like, do your refs call fouls? Like SEC refs call absolutely everything, and a million free throws for everybody in that league. So you can't. No one in the SEC blows up ball screens besides I think Buckyball at A&M,
and that's why they all take care of the ball so well.
Yes, everyone has amazing turnover rates because everyone plays drop coverage because no one blows up ball screens. Because if you did, you get called for 55 fouls a game, and you can't do that. So it really just it's so interesting and like
it really is.
Like, I had a high major assistant text me the other day after I put my article about rim points and that it's on Basketball Under Review, and he was just like, "We need to allow more threes next year." And just imagine a coach saying that.
Yeah,
we want to allow more threes next year. Like leagues are figuring it out. Like allowing teams to get to the rim and like fouling them. There are going to be less and less blowing up ball screens as the years go on. You got to be amazing at it to do it.
Some kind words from Diego. Yeah, guys, follow him. If you don't follow Matthew, please follow Matthew. He's absolutely one of the best people in this space. Tap in. This has been awesome so far. I don't know how long you're down to rock out for, but I'm kind of wired right now. I'm rolling. We got a lot of things that people are asking about us right now. A thought from Draper on Siena. Yeah. I really think that's very true. Shout out you, Juanjo. This is the place to be at night.
You know what the crazy thing is about Siena, though? You know what he's shooting at the rim?
Well, they all dunks on putbacks?
80%? His dunk rate is over half of his rim attempts are dunks. Yes, 54% of his rim attempts are dunks.
Are you doing this on CBB Analytics or Synergy?
It's on Synergy.
Any thoughts on Vandy, Nebraska? Two underseeded teams, two of the surprise teams in the sport this year.
I thought I was really going to like Vanderbilt, but I started looking at this matchup a little bit this afternoon. I might like Nebraska, actually. I got a stat for you. Let me find the stat for you. I wrote this down. So Nebraska is the second best rim denial in the country. South Alabama is first. If you don't know what their zone defense, it's insane. Nebraska's number 2. They allow basically 29% of opponents' shots to be at the rim. When Vanderbilt has a rim rate under 35% against a power conference team, which is obviously way above Nebraska's average, they're 1-6 in the SEC, and they're 10-1 when it's above 35%.
See, that's that again. They're 1-6 when what?
Their rim rate's below 35%, and they're 10-1 in SEC play when it's above 35%.
As in shot attempts at the rim?
Shot attempts. Okay. As in when they take less than 35% of their shots at the rim, they're 1-6 in SEC play, and 10-1 when they're above that. Nebraska allows 29% on average on the year.
I was filtering through Vanderbilt's records and games based on how they defensive rebounded, and what's really interesting is their worst 3 defensive rebounding games of the year they won. So on paper, what I love about the matchup for them is Nebraska's not a team that's going to beat them there. And also because of how good Nebraska's rim denial is and how they swarm, like Tanner is a game changer in how quick he is. Like he is so quick, and like no one's really been able to stop him from getting there. How productive do you think he'll be in this game?
Well, you can't really get downhill when no one's guarding you. And that's the thing with Nebraska is they don't, but they basically do play zone. And it's like I talked about how I think Michigan should play zone against St. Louis because it cuts off driving lanes. Like Tyler Tanner can't drive on Nebraska because there's nowhere to drive. They're going to double every time he touches the ball inside the 3-point line, there's going to be 2 guys not letting him drive past him. And like he'll get by them sometimes, hence the 29% rim rate and not 0% rim rate. But it's going to be settling for a lot of jumpers. And if Tyler Nickel is like below average, if Duke Miles, I think he hurt his hand late in the game today, if he's a little like limited, then Nebraska will win.
One thing I do like, and that you saw was limiting to Troy, is everyone needs to be a good decision maker and passer, because it kind of takes 2 or 3 passes to beat the pressure. And A.K. Okereke and McLaughlin, those guys can really do that.
This should not be a Jalen Washington game.
I think that's really very true. Diego, well, I don't know what you're talking about. I am answering the questions. The questions are guiding the discussion. If there's a specific question, Diego, I will make sure I get it. Anyways, thoughts on the VCU UNC game? How about Terrence Hill? Can I say this? I got to be honest. Some teams just fall through the cracks during the season for me, where I just don't end up getting enough eyes on them. I watched VCU play St. Louis, and I watched them a little bit in November. And I watched the A-10 championship. Didn't get many eyes on them. When I was digging into them a little bit before the tournament, Terrence Hill popped on tape to me. I was like, this dude is really good. And then when I saw what UNC did just in drop against some of the explosive guards in the ACC, like Boopy, Ibuka, and even Nate Calmise, and guys really turned up on them. And I had my eye on this being a Terrence Hill game, and he goes for a career high. So I was pretty crazy. But how good of a player is he? And what do you think of VCU on that comeback?
Yeah, he's insane. He's ridiculous. Like everything about his statistical profile is insane. Like I'm a little worried. An NBA advanced analytics scout is going to see his profile and then just like pick him in the second round. He might not even get another year.
Do you know why he didn't play last year? Why didn't he get minutes last year?
I don't know. They were good, I guess. I mean, they had Max Shulga. They should have gotten minutes last year. I don't know why I didn't get minutes last year. Yeah, but I think this game.
I love Shulga. That can just happen. Sometimes you just get caught behind.
I think this game said more about North Carolina sucking than VC. I mean, obviously Terrence Hill was amazing, but it was just North Carolina was freaking awful down the stretch.
Yeah,
awful. What a horrible roster.
I skipped one from Max Juice. Did you ask me a question that I dodged?
Yeah, I asked you what Chris Neck was shooting at the rim, but it's.
I'm sorry, I was
okay. He's shooting 75% at the rim. He's amazing scoring at the rim. 75% is insane. He just doesn't get there.
And I would assume a lot of that's on putbacks, right?
Half of his rim attempts are dunks. He's shooting 92% on dunks. So that helps. But like when you have someone that shoots 75% at the rim, get to the rim. My God.
Diego, I'm sorry. Thank you. And appreciate the kind words. Sorry for being and sorry, Matt. Sometimes my brain goes a million miles an hour.
You're good.
Northern Iowa upset tomorrow. Let me make the pitch and then you can jump in. Okay. Northern Iowa, top 25 defense. Do you know how hard it is to be a top 25 defense playing in the Missouri Valley? Yes, they have the lowest scoring defense in the country because they play at the third slowest tempo. But here's the thing that jumps out to me about Northern Iowa is when it was give me a second. Tristan Smith missed 8 games. They went 2-6 without him. And they have been really good with him. And, in non-con, they play Tulsa, a very good offensive team. You lose 63-60. You go at Irvine and win in overtime. You beat Furman by 16. You play Wichita into overtime. You go at Illinois Chicago, who I'm pretty sure won that league in the regular season, win 60-54. You went to Moraga and had St. Mary's down the wire 63-58. And that's the game that I watched in full of their non-con. And man, did they play such good defense in that game. And sure, they're a little smaller. And clearly St. Mary's bigs aren't exploiting all smaller matchups, but like they are like a little Nebraska-like in how they defend, just that connected. And then, Trey Campbell can create some shots. They shot the 3-ball wetter, especially down the stretch. And it's the type of game where St. John's, such a different game environment. They've been playing in the Big East, and maybe a bit tighter whistle. They get called for being a bit more handsy, or maybe St. John's is drawing a ton of fouls. That's obviously like my fear. But when you pass it to Bryce Hopkins or Dylan Mitchell wide open in the corner, they're not shooters. And I think that matters a lot. And Sellers and Sandin are the only guys that I actually think are going to make shots. And I don't even think Darling's going to make shots. So I think this is a very frustrating game environment for St. John's. Northern Iowa's dialed plenty of time off since the Missouri Valley tournament. I think this is a low, ugly game where St. John's gets frustrated and struggles to score.
Do you know St. John's offense is better when they get to the free throw line less, statistically? It's very, very, very bizarre. But when they get to the free throw line, their free throw rate's over 45%, which is around their average. If it's over 45%, they're 3, 5, 8, and 5, 8 and 5. And then in all their other games, they are 20-1. So they're 8 and 5 when they get to the free throw line a lot, and they're 20-1 when they don't. And you're like, well, that doesn't make any sense. But I genuinely think that they, pressure bothers them. And pressure teams foul more, and like the Seton Halls of the world and the UConns. And I mean, they beat UConn twice, but they struggled to score on that offense. Versus if they're forced to take shots, they have really good shot makers on their team. I don't really know, but I think they're going to hit shots in this game, and I think they're going to win.
Can I bring up a very random game but it reminds me of the stat you just said. At the opposite end of the spectrum of Northern Iowa is Alabama.
Yeah.
And when Alabama played St. John's at the Garden, St. John's took 40 free throws.
Yeah, I was there.
It was bully ball. Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, tell me what you think of just how archaic their offense can look sometimes when Bryce Hopkins is running a dribble handoff from the elbow and no one's near him or Zuby.
Yeah, I genuinely think this team going downhill is the worst version of this team because their guards are much better shooters than they are playmakers and drivers. And when they play through Zuby and then get threes off of that action, I just think it's a cleaner offensive look. And that's what Northern Iowa is going to let them do. Of course, they have to actually make the shots. But if they shoot 32% from three, which granted, Northern Iowa only allows you to shoot 29%, but 32% is the magic number for St. John's. If they get that, they're going to win this by 8+.
There was no Dylan Darling at that game you were at. What are your thoughts on him? Because sometimes I see him being very aggressive and just being a little bit of a pitbull out there and making some things happen. Other times I'm kind of maybe forcing the issue a little bit. Should he be playing as many minutes? I'm a little torn on him.
Yeah, they forgot to recruit a point guard and they stumbled into Dylan Darling, and he's not a superstar, but man, do they need him because he's their only point guard. And yeah, he's flawed, and I get what you're saying, but without him, they have no one at that position. And so he's really been more vital than he probably is in effective talent.
To answer Sergio's question, St. Louis, right?
Yeah.
Illinois. I didn't really watch
which
Illinois.
team looked the worst tonight? Georgia.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess kind of St. Louis, you got to go to the other side of the spectrum.
Did you have eyes on Illinois tonight? Any thoughts from that game?
Yes, that was my favorite wager of the day. It was for them to win by very many points, which they did. Illinois is good. I have them in my Final Four.
What are your thoughts on some of the lineup stuff with Stojakovic and Boswell out there? You're a better defensive team, but Stojakovic is kind of a hard puzzle to fit in. People are already talking about he wants to leave in the portal. And then Boswell sometimes is a good three-point shooter. Other times he's not. Is it nice to have not the ball in Keaton Wagler's hands the whole time, although Illinois looked amazing sometimes when Keaton Wagler has the ball the whole time? And then the Aviciches, are they going to hit threes? Sometimes I'm like, just let it rock with Merck and Hummerkaus and Jake Davis, Wagler. Like maybe sometimes that's better than when both of these are out there. Do you have thoughts just on the different optionality with Illinois?
Yeah, I don't think it hurts to have more options. Stojakovic is their most one-note player, which it's a little tough to watch when you have all these other guys that can do so many things, and Stojakovic can't shoot or pass. Sometimes, though, you do need like play finishers, and he's definitely a very good play finisher going downhill. He just takes up a lot of space on the offense. I just think that like if Tomislav Ivicic is playing as well as he did last year, this team is Final Four good. And I just don't think at any point this year has he really, really been that guy. He was very good against Penn. Granted, it was Penn, but maybe that's the start of a really good 3 weeks for him.
So we have a record-breaking moment in the channel's history. I just got my first super chat. Thank you, Sergio, for the $2. And we are making sure we are answering this question pronto. Do we think A&M's pace is going to give UH problems? Houston's definitely a half-court team, but when you have Uzan and Flemings, you have two really good guards who know how to take care of the ball. I think that helps a lot. And I just think they'll be able to break the press, which is kind of the biggest thing. You don't want to turn the ball over that way. And A&M wasn't great at turning teams over late in SEC play. They turned over St. Mary's team where, like we talked about, Joshua Dent's a guy that you can kind of do that to. So I don't really think A&M really makes Houston uncomfortable. And I also wonder how A&M, just functions offensively against the way Houston defends.
When you think about A&M, obviously in the SEC, do you know who had the slowest defense in the SEC in terms of the defense that allowed opponents to take the longest possessions?
Ole Miss?
No, it was A&M.
Oh, wow.
So I'm saying, you think about their pace, like they like to run offensively.
Nuts.
Yeah, I know. The main reason for that is the more you pressure, the longer the opponent possession is.
Sure.
Like you mentioned, SEC, no one blows up ball screens except for A&M, and no one pressures. So by proxy, it was kind of them. Point being, they'll slow the game down if they don't. A&M's games are fast if they get steals, and Houston doesn't turn it over. So the game won't actually be that fast.
My boy Bobby's in the chat. If you break the press against A&M, it becomes really easy to beat them. St. Mary's had like 8 turnovers in the first 6 minutes, and that totally set the rest of the game up for them. Yeah. For sure. For sure. It reminds me of like Vanderbilt kind of against McNeese today. Vandy struggled a bit and turned the ball over sometimes, but when they did break it, they would usually get a good look off the bat. Yeah.
And Vanderbilt's also a team that loves to run transition off of the press. Like Synergy does transition rates off of press, which is a really cool stat. Houston is in the 99th percentile against press in terms of pulling it to the half court. So just for frame of reference, they've been pressed 147 possessions this year. 140 of them were half court possessions. They ran transition 7 times.
Interesting.
So that'll be really slow, that game.
So I heard Kelvin say something post game once of like mentioning like the lack of a Jawan Roberts type of scorer. And, we got to shoot well. And then he said, when we're not turning teams over as well, we get less of those kind of free points like that. So is there any world where Houston makes a stylistic adjustment a bit of, if we're going to have numbers up the floor when we beat the press, like, should we let Kingston go? Like, are we going to get lobs to Sinek? Are we going to get transition Chase McCarty threes? Could we see something a little different from Houston because of how strange the matchup is?
It's possible. But when I think about Houston being one of the slowest offenses in the country and not pushing in press possessions like I just mentioned, and A&M being the slowest defense in the SEC because of how they pressure the ball, maybe they'll try to run, but like every stat is telling me they're not going to.
Watched every A&M game and they put together 10 to 15 minute stretches often where they look capable of being anyone, but they haven't done it for a whole game. If Griffin or Rubin get hot, look out. Yeah, I mean they got legit shooters, man. Like I wouldn't call myself a Pop Isaacs guy, but I'm someone who recognizes that he can be an absolute game-changing guard. Like even his little stint at Creighton, he made some big plays. Like remember
where Pop Isaacs was supposed to play? Do you remember where Pop Isaacs was supposed to play this year?
Houston. He was the
I didn't even think about
boys
that.
with I think he's boys with Uzan, and if Uzan went to the draft, he was going to take a spot.
I didn't even think about that. Now he probably has like motivated factor. Now they got 4 guys shooting 40% from 3 on 90 plus attempts. That's insane.
Yeah, and Dominguez is like, I'm a big fan. As someone, the work you do in the portal and how much film you watch, you know that all 3-point percentages aren't created equal. Rylan Griffin and Ruben Dominguez are snipers. Pop Isaacs is a very good shooter, and Zach Clements is a really good shooter.
I called on my show with on Weekend Under Review with Brian Ralph. I once called Zach Clements a Dollar Tree Thomas Houck, and it got everyone. Or maybe I called him a Dollar Tree Alex Condon. Whatever I did, it made everyone lose their mind.
Well,
but like you see what I'm saying, right? Like they're versatile 6'11" dudes, and then Brian was like, "It's because he's white, right?" And I was like, "Oh." No, that's
Hawk's I know Hawk can play the 4, but he's a wing.
Yeah, probably meant Condon, and they're both 6'11", and they can both shoot the 3 and mobile. I can't believe Zach Clemens is good. That's crazy.
He had a 7-3 game. He hit 10 threes in 3 years at Kansas.
That's crazy. I mean, what against the Arkansas doesn't make me think about him. He went 8 for 8 from 2, 29 points. Like, how did he become good?
Atomic Walnut, also great name. Atomic Walnut, 39-20. Bobby, that's what Florida did. It was over within 10 minutes. Houston needs to replicate that. Yeah, A&M had no shot against Florida. Houston's not that good on the offensive glass, but I think they need to win on the offensive glass.
Yeah, Houston is not as good as previous Houston teams on the glass.
Yes, very true. Nate, we already covered this, but you want to give a quick reminder, Matt, of what USF, the shot quality thing?
Yeah, USF won shot quality by 19 points. They won 101-82 because they were the second team in NCAA tournament history to lose a game with 18 offensive rebounds and 15 steals. But man, they could not throw that ball in the ocean.
I hate to say this because I love Houston. I love Samson. Last year was probably the year, which is what's so sad about it.
It was the shed year, like the ankle injury year.
Yeah.
That was the year because they would have beaten Duke in that game, and then they're in the Final Four.
Yeah, well, they would have played Purdue. That game would have been interesting against Purdue, but Juwan wasn't fully healthy. They had another injury. I don't know. Maybe it was Juwan. It wasn't just Shed that was injured.
Yeah, you're right. Maybe it was last year, but maybe it was last year.
I thought it could have been the year they lost to Miami. Is that when they had Jarris Walker? That team was so good too.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely not their best team.
Yeah. Wow, we have our second donation, Matt. We can split the prize money. You're up to $2 on the night for your services. Y'all are good.
I will be fine financially as long as no 14, 15, or 16 seed loses.
Y'all are good, listening, knowledgeable. Thank you, Justin. I really appreciate that. Matt appreciates that. We're grinders. We're the people deep in the streets. We're the people in May. We're just walking down the street. We're like, is Rashawn Agee going to be approved eligible this year? Because he could be a good fit in basketball.
I don't even know about eligibility. Too many coaches ask me like I'm supposed to know about eligibility. Like I'm just sitting here in my apartment in Manhattan. I don't know nothing about none of that stuff.
We already hit on Nebraska already, Justin, but if you have any other specific questions on them, feel free to. Yeah, I don't think that team could have won it, but that was still just one of the most awful losses in like the tournament ever. Oh, thank you, Nathan. Trent Perry is super cool. He was super friendly. And something I asked him about, Matt, was I asked him about like the guard screening actions they do, because that was killing in the Big Ten. And like, I think that's something that just makes him such a tough cover is Sky Clark. I know you're a Sky Clark guy too.
I love Sky Clark. Oh, man, he's so good.
What is it? I think they're the second best offense in the country since he returned to the starting lineup.
He's amazing. He's one of the best offensive guards in the country. We're talking about offensive rating the other day, or a little bit ago with Malik Ewan. Sky Clark, 97th percentile offensive rating, 125. Incredible. That's team offensive rating when he's on the floor, not individual. Clear that up. Yeah.
Yeah, poor USF. That one just sucks. Oh, this is an interesting schematic question I would love for you to explain. So, would you say it's fair to say that Michigan State lets you shoot threes, or do people just end up taking a lot of threes based on how hard it is to get shots at the rim against them?
It's a bit of both. So if you're on KenPom, this is a very easy way to decipher this thing. It's actually a really cool stat I've found. Because you're like, oh, they let them shoot threes. Like that stat you're using, 343rd, is probably exactly from KenPom, because it'll say 343rd and 3-point to field goal. And then right below it is assists to field goals made. If your assist and field goals made is lower by 50 to 100 more spots, like in Michigan State's case, they're 288 in assists for field goal made. So there's a 55 spot difference. That means that teams that you're not forcing them to shoot threes. Teams just have to shoot threes. The lower your assist rate is, the more teams are just stuck and have to shoot threes. The higher your assist rate is, then you're forcing those threes, because the higher assist rate means you're trapping, you're doubling, all that stuff. Teams like Duke, teams like Tennessee, teams like Michigan State, there's a 50-plus spot gap because you just can't drive on him. So, oh no, shot clock is down, got to take a bat off a dribble three.
Thank you. I don't want to botch your name. Ritvi. Thank you. I appreciate that. If you're referencing the Victor Valdez interview, he was super cool. I would love to talk to more random mid-major players. I was trying to talk to Tavari Johnson, who I bet you're a fan of, which is a transition to, oh, that's a shrug. What are your thoughts on Akron, and what are your thoughts on Texas Tech?
My thoughts on Akron is they're a really good mid-major team, and they can't scale up because they're tiny, and their system is hard to do with real shot blocking, which Texas Tech lost in JT Toppin, but got back with Luke Bamgoya, who's a better defensive player than JT Toppin. And Texas Tech is dependent on the three against really good teams. But I just don't think it matters against Akron because, once again, 350th in height, and their two games against top 50 offenses were getting destroyed on defense by Purdue and Yale. Destroyed.
Amani Lyles, not that tall, six. They list him at 6'7" his first year, and now he's 6'9" apparently.
No, he's not 6'9". Not a chance in the world he's 6'9".
I love when that happens, the random growth spurt. But you know what he is? He's a big boy.
Yeah, but I just think that Akron chose, like, John Gross been in that league forever. He was like, the MAC can't defend if we play this way, and it worked. And I just don't think that will work outside of the MAC.
Yeah, against their best teams they played this year, Miami, Ohio, at Troy, Murray State, Yale, Purdue. They lost them all. Jinx. They lost them all.
No top 150 wins. No top 125 wins, I mean.
So your team, Miami, Ohio, is better than Akron? Just as a basketball team? I'm not saying head-to-head, just...
No, like, I think Akron's better if they... Okay, no, never mind. You caveated that, and I wasn't listening. Head-to-head, Akron would win. As a basketball team, I think Miami's better.
Yeah. Do you think I'm sorry, no, we already talked about Miami, Tennessee. Texas Tech, how live are they to do things in this tournament? I made a video about Final Four sleepers. I was struggling to find teams. My rule was 11-1 odds or worse. I did Vanderbilt, UCLA, Virginia, because they actually did have lower odds, and Texas Tech. And my vision with Texas Tech was maybe Michigan gets picked off and they avoid them, but you described them very well. And I just also people need to understand like how good Christian Anderson is. Everyone knows he's really good, but like he is unbelievably good. And the fact that I tweeted this out, there are two duos in college basketball this year that hit 100 threes. Two players both hit 100 threes. Wes Enos and Joe Pinion, 38, 37%. Donovan Atwell and Christian Anderson, 45 and 43. And Atwell is hitting catch and shoot, contested catch and shoot threes with a super quick release. Christian Anderson's coming off ball screens and shooting from range. And also, sometimes people want to knock teams like Alabama usually gets this in the tournament. They shoot too many threes, blah, blah, as if it's a bad thing. But Texas Tech took 46 threes last year against UNC Wilmington in the first round. And yeah, it was a close game until the end. Kerwin Walton took 19 threes, but that's their game. Like, if Donovan Atwell takes 15 threes against Akron, like, he'll probably hit 7 of them, So I don't have any knock on their style. I think they can score on anyone they play up. Their staff has shown an ability of them to come back in games they're down in and to play up. Of course, there are moments where sometimes they look a little outmatched. Iowa State at second half of the BYU game, even they got bullied a bit. But thoughts on those things?
Well, Texas Tech is a top 5 coach in the country, top 10 for sure coach in the country, but I would argue top 5 coach in the country. And that's going to matter a lot. 40, shoot all your shots from 3 if you're going to hit 40% of them. And they got a good draw, at least in the first weekend, because I think that Akron's not going to take advantage of their lack of interior without JT Toppin. And then Alabama is probably not going to have Aiden Holloway. And Alabama's already a flawed team.
Right. Is Hofstra a live dog tomorrow?
No, because Hofstra isn't, like I was talking about with UCF, what are they good at?
Hofstra's good at Cruz Davis?
Hofstra is an Hofstra's an unbelievable rim defense. But like, it's Alabama. They don't bother. They just shoot a lot of threes. Like, Alabama's take 1,000,000 threes. If they hit them, they win. And more than likely, they're going to hit them. Obviously, you rather have your best 3-point shooter on the floor, which they won't. But I don't think this is a good matchup for
Hofstra. Texas Tech against Alabama. What do you think of that potential matchup?
That'd be so fun. I think Holloway makes a huge difference there. I think that Texas Tech never getting to the free throw line is a problem, because you think about the games where Alabama struggles, it's because they're getting, teams are getting offensive rebounds against them, and they're fouling a lot, and Aiden Sherrill has to get off the floor, and they have to play the worst big man in power conference basketball, Noah Williamson. And Texas Tech never gets to the line, and they're not going to expose that. So that's a bit of a problem.
Dude, the Noah Williamson eval is still just wild to me. I kind of feel bad. It makes me feel a little sad when he's on the court.
It's so bad. It's so bad. So like Boston U, who lost in the Patriot League final, all of their players just answered the transfer portal. I hope that power conference teams learn not to take a Patriot guy, especially a Patriot big.
Yeah, it's been bad. And that is a good point about Sherrill. He's not a dude that really plays big minutes ever. Like,
because he's always in foul trouble.
Right. But even in the game he's not, dude, he's not a guy that they'll play more than 31 minutes in a game. And they don't have what's that fellow's name? Oh, Charles freaking Bediako anymore. They don't have Keaton Bristow, who I love Keaton Bristow. And Taylor Bowen is not 100%. I can just tell there's something up with him. And they're just limited there. And now you took away it. So with all of those considerations, it's like, well, Amari Allen's a stud. LeBaron Philon can do anything. Right, Sale, Millette, all these guys can get hot. But you just took away Robin. And when Alabama beats good teams, Aiden Holloway's giving you 20. So I would strongly lean to – I think Texas Tech's going to get a chance to play Michigan with 4 days prep, and crazier things have happened. No? Are they going to get demolished? I understand it's all on paper.
It's definitely possible. I just think that, like, and I wish I thought about this more looking back on it. High Point was so clearly the most talented 12 seed.
Yeah.
I wish that I realized that sooner before my bracket was submitted.
Any other games today that we didn't hit on? Any thoughts on Michigan's bad first half? Or was it just a good first half for Howard because they were hitting shots?
They hit shots. Yeah, that's it.
And then any matchups tomorrow that we didn't hit on that you have thoughts on? Let me just take a peek. Do you ever use the site cbbdata.com?
No.
It's really good, but it doesn't schedule ahead. What is this? Texas Tech can use Christian Anderson, the Brains with the role against Michigan. I think that can cause real issues for them. I mean, yeah, Braden Smith has to always be more of aggressive of a scorer against Michigan. And I think
he's a way better passer.
Right. So that's kind of intentional. I don't think you play Christian Anderson that way. No. Oh, you guys seem to think some matchups that are trending upsets aren't as good as the public sees that. Is that because talking as general media doesn't look close enough or looks at the wrong metrics? I think part of it is just like the buzz of March. Like Like, I picked Troy to beat Nebraska. I know Nebraska's a way better team and that Troy is probably not going to win, but like, I picked them. My Northern Iowa was the one that I felt like I could get there the most to, but it's hard to pick upsets. Like, I guess High Point, there were a lot of data points that you could have talked yourself into that, but like, yeah, it's like, Cruz, there's a simple path of logic of Cruz Davis is nasty. Hofstra's been playing really well. Alabama is injured, and now you take away Aiden Holloway. Like, give me Hofstra. There's still 11.5-point dogs in the game. Do you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I'm not going to dive too much into my betting, but I will say that I'm way better at that than picking a bracket because everything I do is based off of logic and numbers and all the different stats and sites that I've been referencing for the last hour and a half. And the magic of March just doesn't, like, you can't logically quantify the March Madness. So, like, my girlfriend asked for my bracket. I was like, you can have it, but like, you're not going to win your office bracket pool because I'm going to just pick the team that logically makes sense to win with like a couple of upsets to fill a quota. Like, yeah, I would love to tell you that everything I just said on the show is correct. And like, statistically it is, but random stuff's going to happen.
Yeah. When people ask me for help with their bracket, I'm like, you don't want that. Just fill it out based on vibes. And if you do something like put BYU in your Final Four, I'll say probably don't do that.
Yeah.
That's what I'm good at. But don't, you know what I'm saying? Don't ask for, I don't know what's going to happen.
My women's bracket is better than my men's bracket every year.
I was on the women's bracket leaderboard last year.
Yeah.
I got the Sweet 16.
And like I watched like one women's game a year and I watch 20 men's games a day. And my women's bracket's always better. Always.
People asking for more streak. There will be more streams. This was a blast. I don't mean to hold you hostage. If you're ready to wrap it up, you are.
I think I got to go to bed.
All right.
We'll wait.
Time for Matt to go to bed. Dude, you were an awesome guest. It was so fun to get to chop it up with you like this. And if I keep doing these, if you're down to come on again, you'd be very welcome back. Any parting words?
You got it. No, follow me at Matthew Winick if you don't already. Hopefully I gave some valuable insights and hopefully the madness is mad tomorrow.
All right. Everyone say thank you to Matt. And if for some reason you're not following him already, please address that. Thanks, Matt.
Take it easy.
All right, I'm going to stay on for a few more minutes just to make sure I answer all these last questions. Hey, Christian, sorry if this got asked already. What was your favorite game from today and why? The VCU comeback was pretty sick because I love Terrence Hill Jr. And, I mean, I went to Wake. I don't dislike Carolina. They're cool. But it was kind of funny to watch VCU win that. Yeah, shout out to Matt, guys. He's really good. He's smarter than me, I think. But in a good way. We all have our different strengths. Yeah, dude, more streams. I don't know, man. You still got Duke win it all. If Gongba comes back, I can see it. Without Gongba, I think there's no shot. We're getting more TCU questions. I do. I think Duke's going to guard them really well. I think TCU's offense could look much worse tomorrow. UConn, always. Every time. I've never made a women's bracket where UConn wasn't my champion. Yeah, I think it's going to be a game. I would take TCU to cover, but I just think it's going to be really tough for TCU to score on Duke. Like, Siena kind of awakened the Giant a bit. I expect very focused preparation in the next, 48 hours before that game. So yeah. Any other questions I missed? I've got like another 10 minutes in me. Roll Cox. Yeah. I mean, Don's high level. But I'm Team Gino. Do I think any of the teams that made upset can win another game? Arkansas is playing really well lately, so my camera. Can y'all hear me still? I don't know what just happened. Okay, I'm back. I think it's tough for High Point. I think VCU, it's going to be tough against Illinois with their lack of size. So probably not. I don't count an 8-9. Oh, Texas A&M, I think is going to give Houston a game. And I guess that's it. Oh, Texas. I think Texas could beat Gonzaga. So yeah, we for sure got some live dogs. We could get a double-digit seed in there. So thoughts on the BYU Texas game? I made a video just talking about how much I appreciate AJ for everything he did this year. Voca Titus is a freaking house. And Tremont Mark makes plays at the end of the shot clock. And Jordan Pope hit that big three from the corner when BYU got back into it. And Sean Miller's a really good coach, but Vokatitis has to make some damn free throws. But and then you got some solid minutes off the bench from Nick Cody, who's just kind of there just to eat minutes, but he can do that. Yeah, and Swain is a bucket. Pope's got to hit threes for them to win games. And Weaver is such a good athlete, man. Bobby, I know you're Robbie made a video. I'm sorry. Bobby made a video about Robbie when he was at Indiana State. That's awesome. Go to Bobby's channel to check that out. But on paper, it's going to be really hard for St. Louis to guard Michigan. But Michigan's had some sleepy moments offensively where there's teams that on paper, like in Ohio State, that shouldn't be able to guard them, but they do because they have a good game plan for it. And Michigan settles for threes or Cadeau's turning the ball over. And St. Louis is a really good offensive team that's hard to prepare for. Matt made a good point about, does it make sense for for Michigan to just zone SLU and make them just not get anything at the rim? Because St. Louis generates a lot of shots at the rim with their offense and Robbie facilitating. I think they do have a chance. I thought before the tournament that Georgia had a better chance, and maybe Georgia would have still been live. But I think they got a chance. I think Michigan can be sleepy sometimes. We've just seen too many sleepy halves for them. In St. Louis, in a sleepy half, they could be up 15. You know what I'm saying? So, wow, we're international. Andreas. Thank you for being here. And shout out to the college basketball fans in Denmark. Gonzaga is mid, man, because they have really good defensive metrics. They're a good defensive team, but offensively without Braden Huff, it's not the same vision. It really is not the same vision when you can't have those two post scores. They kind of need big games from EK to actually look good. I love Vandy. I was a little tiny bit nervous at first that I was going to be Timothy Chalamet and get the buzz cut, but they're so good. Tanner is better and better and better every time I watch him. And McNeese missed some shots. There was a world where McNeese made that a game in the final 30 seconds, but just wasn't enough. I just love Byington and Tanner's composure. I love their shooting. I love the secondary playmaking of Duke Miles, and I love the way they compete on the glass even when they're smaller than other teams. And I love the fact that Nebraska isn't an offensive rebounding team. And I love the fact that Vanderbilt is so versatile and unselfish and moves the ball so well against a defense that you got to take care of the basketball and move it against. So love Vandy. You made a buzz cut about yeah. I just randomly woke up and tweeted that this morning. I was gonna tweet I think Vandy's gonna. I thought they were gonna win by 20, so I was wrong. But I was like, I might as well put some stakes on a little bit. I don't want to promote the activity too heavily, but I participate in it responsibly. And it's fun. It's fun to predict things, but I think everyone needs to be responsible about it and not chase losses and not bet more than they can afford to lose. Not to preach. Sorry. As a Tennessee native, I appreciate all the love for you. I got you, Neb the Creator. Cool profile picture. Shout out to you, Neb the Creator. Let's go. How can Gonzaga lead it, but I don't like anyone in the sub-region field nurse. Yeah, I mean, Texas struggles to guard. I think we talked about this. I think Vokatitis could get EK in foul trouble, and that could be a problem. So I agree with Golden is him. Shout out Matthew Golden. I needed more from him in fantasy this year, though. Sometimes with the rookie, quick side note on the NFL, sometimes these rookie receivers, after the year one, you kind of bail on them, and then JSN happens, and you shouldn't bail on them. So I always try to be patient with receivers with good draft capital because as someone who doesn't understand how to evaluate NFL talent that much, I just trust the people. If you're a receiver drafted the first round, you better be freaking good. I'll bail on you if the sample size is big enough, but Golden should be a monster next year. No, you're not wrong. They just showed day in the guard plays and what it was used to. What was that about? What up, LaMike Ballburner? That's my boy. That's an OG right there. Yeah. Well, I was happy because I Gonzaga and Survivor. Which team are you looking forward to watching the most from a personal entertainment standpoint tomorrow? That would be... What game am I most excited for tomorrow? Probably... I think Mizzou Miami was going to be a really good game, and I have a soft spot for Mizzou. I like Miami too, but Mizzou has just been a team that I've just kind of gotten involved with this year because I tweeted out after they lost by 50 to Illinois, don't sleep on Mizzou. This is a good team when they get healthy. And then they were a good team when they were healthy. So I felt smart. And I like Trent Pierce and Jaden Stone and T.O. Barrett. So I would say Mizzou. I would love for Mizzou to win a game. I'm sorry. I've been dodging the Santa Clara, Kentucky game subconsciously. I don't know. I think Santa Clara is a better basketball team. Kentucky's been weird this year. Mark Pope's been weird this year, but like Otega Owe's a dog. Colin Chandler's a dog. Aberdeen's a dog. Malachi Moreno's a dog. Why does my camera keep going black? What is the problem with the Elgato? Ugh. Can you guys still hear me? I'm sorry. Tell me you're here. Mike, you got 2 accounts, bro? Or you just joined from YouTube? I see you. Yeah, embarrassing, especially after getting rocked by Gonzaga in the first round last year. Oh, Mike's twitching. I got to collab with Mike. If Mike's got to tap into college basketball. Duke gets Gonzaga back healthy. It's going to feel like a weight off the bit. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, 100%. I was going back and watching some Duke games like against Florida and stuff earlier this weekend. He's such a key piece. Such a key piece. Puddles. I don't know. As a non-player, it's always hard to break into that space as an analyst, but I'm just going to keep grinding and having fun with it and see what happens. Who knows? Part of me is also interested in scouting. I just love to grind the tape. See, you got Mizzou over. Yeah. Yeah, you are looking forward. Yeah, Chris, you're looking to that UCLA 3-guard lineup. It's going to be really fun. It's going to be really fun. Thank you, SJav. You've been here the whole time. You're a legend. What's a sign? That I need to stop streaming because the camera's turned off, but I'm having fun. Oh, yeah. Sturt's Legacy game tomorrow. I think for those of you who are interested in predicting games, I will be getting involved on Iowa to beat Clemson, Utah State to beat Villanova, probably Mizzou to beat Miami, and probably Northern Iowa to cover against St. John's. Those would be the friendly wagers I'd be looking at. I feel like Kansas is one of the teams with the largest difference how they finish. Could be a first-round exit Final Four team. Yeah, especially if Duke's vulnerable and they get a rematch with TCU in the second round, or they catch a break and St. John's loses to Northern Iowa. I think there's no shot they lose in the first round. Dom Daniels is everything to Cal Baptist, and he's a dog. His points prop is at like 21.5, but with Council and Peterson to throw at him, I just don't think he can. Like, I just think Bill Self will scheme a way to make it that he can't beat everything. Yeah, I've got Northern Iowa. That's my upset pick. Yeah, I got a whole collection I got to keep rotating through. I had the Lil Yachty album up before Let's Start Here. I think Texas. I don't know. I don't really feel good about it. UCLA beat Rutgers. I'm getting tired. I just yawned. Yeah, I know. It was awesome. I was at that game. All right, Snowman, thank you. Shout out to the gay community. Appreciate y'all tapping in. We love March. Everybody loves March. March is for everybody. Hey, this is Mike. This is fake news. This is what happens. I make a bracket. I join 2 other pools. I'll switch like a Final Four team in 2 of them. I've got Arizona all the way. I'm in like 3 pools. It's fake news. I didn't even answer the Santa Clara question. Where was the Santa Clara question? I still never mentioned this. Iowa State's going to beat both of them. I think definitely Kentucky they would beat, but I think Kentucky can defend really well against Santa Clara. I don't know, just seeing some of these mid-major teams like St. Louis and VCU playing really well today. High Point, obviously Miami. I just think Santa Clara is a little bit more sound as a team and more connected, and I kind of think they elevate to the moment. So I think I'm going to lead Santa Clara, but I might have picked Kentucky in my bracket. What team do I root for? I went to Wake. They can't make it to the tournament. I grew up going to Providence games and UConn games, so I like those 2 teams, and I like Houston. But it changes every year. I like players. I just like the sport. Favorite vinyl I own? Honestly, I love this album. I listen to this album a lot. I rock with Daniel Caesar heavily. And I have a Mick Jenkins album. If anyone knows Mick Jenkins, I like that. What national army? I'm Armenian. Arkansas any chance against Nova Arizona? I don't think so, because Arkansas got like crushed by Florida and lost to Duke, lost to Houston. They lost against the best teams on their schedule. They only got 6 players. Thank you, bro. I appreciate that. Yeah, dude. Nick Martinelli's is the man. Love Nick Martinelli. That was so cool to get to talk to him like that. And yes, I will come to more Northwestern games for sure. Good eyes, Bobby. We got the lefty. We got the lefty push shot in live action. How cool is that? The coolest thing I got. I also got Sister Jean, rest in peace. And for the real ball knowers out there, I got Marshawn Brooks. Oh, yeah. Audi Warwick, if anyone's from Rhode Island here. Marshawn Brooks. If you don't know who he is, go do your homework. Bro dropped like 50 on Pitt or Notre Dame when they were like the number 1 team. I think it was Pitt. Yeah, I'm trying to get them. I'm going to be more aggressive getting to the cup next time. No, honestly, no. That's a great idea, Trevor. I'm down. Such a random shout. I love that. Who should I shout? A guy that like maybe didn't make the tournament or something. I loved Kay Felder on Oakland. He never made the tournament. He got drafted to the NBA as a 5'9" dude, so that tells you how good he is. So yeah. Yeah. It's so good. No, I've never seen Dune. I don't have time for fiction these days. In the summer, I can tap into fiction. Favorite game I went to this year? Texas Tech, Duke at Madison Square Garden. It was my 26th birthday, and Christian Anderson went freaking nuts. And he's like my favorite player in the country, him and Tyler Tanner. So that was so cool. Then the Garden was rocking. That was just so cool. Oh my God. What is the deal with my damn camera? What is the problem? Why can't I have nice things? Okay, geez, I gotta figure that out. Yeah, the chat thinks TCU is gonna win. I'm kind of tapped in. You got to play football with. Oh, cool. Maybe just tossing the pigskin with Nick Martinelli. Go Dins. I mean, hey, dude, I like Furman. Furman's talented. You never know. Favorite song off Never Enough? Maybe Unstoppable, the last track. Or maybe Ocho Rios. My favorite tournament recent memory. The bubble tournament was pretty cool because the UCLA run and the Suggs one. And I love Houston. They made the Final Four, and that Baylor team was really fun to watch. I'd probably say that. We talked about this. Our answer is like probably not, because the way they're built and the way that like they lost to all the best teams they played this year. And unlike High Point and Miami, they actually played teams better than them, and they didn't win. Hey, yo, Moo God. Come on, man. We can clip that if I'm wrong, but come on, man. What are we talking about? Atomic Walnut. I don't want to lie to you. I liked Earl Grant. When I was a senior at Wake, I covered the ACC tournament in Brooklyn. And that was when Boston College went on their mini Cinderella run because they beat Wake, sent us packing home, sent Miami to overtime. That Miami team that made the Elite Eight with Isaiah Wong, Charlie Moore, Cameron McGusty. They had that was the Boston College team with a young Quentin Post, Jaden Zachary, Makai Langford. I don't think Devin McLaughlin was on that team, but maybe Devin McLaughlin was on that team. Someone fact check me on that. Do we have a young Devin McLaughlin on that team? Or no, I'm getting Devin McLaughlin confused with TJ Bickerstaff, I think, because they both went to James Madison. Yeah. It was TJ Bickerstaff. That confused me. That's what it was. TJ Bickerstaff went to James Madison. Devin McLaughlin went to Vandy because of TJ Bickerstaff connection to Mark Byington. Yeah, shout out Chandler Bing. Gives you some nice minutes. He had some nice plays today. That was supposed to be Mike James or Frankie Collins, but he stepped up. Favorite song on Faces? Mine is Polo Jeans, because the whole reason I know about that album is because of Earl Sweatshirt. I know all the words to that song. I love that song. But I don't know who they hire. It's just such an impossible job. But if they get some, and who wants that job? What I was saying was Earl Grant, I thought, did as good of a job as he could, making them like 500 that year and stuff. So I think it's tough. Oh, cool. Marinelli running routes. Let's go. Video I had the most fun on Enjoy channel. I just love all the head-to-heads. Those are really fun because it gets the guys really competitive. But Who Wants to Be a Millionaire was so funny because I could not believe they got the first question wrong. That was like 100% real too. And then they actually did. Mike did get hot. If anyone doesn't know me from Enjoy, if they just know me from Twitter, I produce NBA trivia games on the Enjoy Basketball channel on YouTube, and they're really fun. So you should check them out. Thank you so much, Nate. I appreciate it. I'm trying to do this more. I'm trying to just put out as much as I can and go hard to the finish line. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Johnny Juzang, Tiger Campbell. I think they do too, Snowman, for sure. I like Mike Young. I think Mike Young's really good. I just don't think Abdallas was good enough this year. You had some injuries. Things just didn't come together. Abdallas needed to be better. Jack Gian. Jack Gian. That's how I say it. Good choice. I like that favorites. Yeah. Appreciate you, Ball Knowers Podcast. How many people are still here? This is actually incredible. I'm still not used to the fact that people are like, I don't know if it's a little imposter syndrome. There's still 86 people here. That's so nuts. Y'all are cool. 90? That's so cool. Appreciate you guys. Jared Dudley BC. Why not? I'm there, Bobby. Let's do it. Thank you. Thank you, Snowman. Yeah, well, Jerry McNamara is a better coach than John Shire. John Shire said no, he said he got outcoached, but I think Jerry McNamara makes sense. Yeah, I think we might do Prices Right very soon. You got to come to Game Allen Fieldhouse. I would love to go to Allen Fieldhouse. I've been going to as many games as I can this year. That's a place I'd love to go. Yeah, it was. I mean, 5 for 33 from deep. You forced 22 turnovers. They should have won the game. Catch a break with no Michael, so that one sucks. I would have loved to have seen them won. I wonder if they're going to find the money to keep Hodgson. There's a chance they do. Gavin Sykes is nice. He's probably portaling, but those are my thoughts on Long Beach basketball. Do you guys care also that I don't look at the camera? Pierre told me that I should look at the camera more. I'm just like, I know I have to read the chat, but let me know if I need to do that. Nah, I appreciate that. No, I do put the work in. I do know my stuff. It's just cool that I built a community in a way, or I'm starting to build a community. I'm trying to build a community, and I'm going to keep bringing in guests. If anyone has guest suggestions, I'm going to get Ryan Hammer on. I'm going to get Mike LaTulip on. I've got to get Joe Jackson on. I've got people. I'm going to try to get Isaac Trotter on. So I think it's really cool to have a guest so you guys get to hear someone else's opinion, point of view. I'm all about Utah State. All about Utah State. I already talked about that more, but I just think they're a way better team right now and way better form. I'd definitely lean that way, but I think UCF can sneaky cause problems. I love Donovan Dent. He's so good. It's been really cool to see how he got better this year. Trent Perry told me he's such a great leader. He makes plays. Guard play wins in March. He won a game in March Madness last year against Marquette, gave Michigan State a good fight. Donovan Dent is tourney made. I don't know if they got screwed by the refs. They missed too many shots. Yeah, Kenny knows that Darren Peterson's on Kansas. He just had a brain fart. Give him a break. I actually don't. That's a weakness of mine. I just don't dive into high school. I've never been like a high school event in person. I just kind of know the top guys, and then once the season starts, it's like, oh, this dude's good. He's a freshman. I'll pay attention. Yeah, dude, they looked bad. Siena looked great, but yeah. Let's go. We got a fan teed up. Thank you. I don't know how to say your name. Is that Howie Kendrick? Who is your profile picture? I don't really know baseball. Like, I know baseball from like when I was a kid because I had baseball cards. Oh, I can totally get Fetterman on. I love Fetterman. He's the only one who's like watching in the regular season. For pick 5, I don't know what this means. Can you ask again? A bat? Child of God. What the hell? I hope everything's okay, but appreciate the support. Damn, bats are creepy. I don't really rock with bats. Who's my favorite second round sleeper this year that I just love? A team that I think can make the Sweet 16. I don't know if I have one. A second round sleeper. I don't know. I didn't really put any double digit seeds in my Sweet 16, which was kind of lame. Maybe Texas A&M. I love Houston, but maybe Texas A&M. I mean, let's not overreact to one game that they lost to a Vanderbilt team that is found success against them earlier on their first match of the season and got revenge there. Like, Florida was playing unbelievable basketball. They're top 10 on both sides of the ball. They win the possession battle because they're so good on the glass. They just need Lee and Boogie to be aggressive and be confident. What is up with my damn camera? What is the problemo? Anyone know how to fix that? Anyone know why this is happening? Is my thing just getting tired? This is so annoying. You worry about their guard play. I get that, but I mean, Xavier and Boogie have been playing pretty damn well. And Klavjar gives them some shot making off the bench. Isaiah Brown's been good. There we go. I'm back. does anyone understand OBS or my Elgato? Why does that keep happening? I'm not touching anything. Oh, second round sleeper player. Sam Lewis, Virginia. Malik Brown, Duke. Emmanuel Sharp, Houston. I don't think Mo Krivas. Oh, it overheat. No, it's not that hot, Moo God. I got you thinking about Ocho Cinco? There's something about a bat? I think Arizona wins by a chameleon, but I would have said that about Duke. So you never know. Fins up. But someone made a really funny joke. It's Long Island versus Arizona, the two iced tea companies. It's the iced tea, by the way. Christian Moore. I don't know who that is. Damn. It would have been cool if I sniped that. That was a non-baseball guy. Ty Cobb, like the baseball player? How did this turn into such a baseball player? He's already got 2 points in junior ball school for sure. He's committed to Liberty. I mean, Liberty gets players, so I'll remember this, Neb the creator, when Ty Cobb's at Liberty for sure. Will a point guard go no matter what? Do you think a wing or bing could go based on what the team? Oh, 5 in the draft. Duh. Okay. Right now it's probably Acuff, but I think some of the Acuff defensive tapes is concerning. I think it could be Wagler or Flemings or Acuff. It's probably a guard, but it could be a team. It could be Nate Ament. I know that might sound crazy to some people, but it could happen. I love Hans Steinbach. That's probably too high for him. There's a lot of guys that can be up there. Whoa. Did someone give me a... How do I get this chat up? Someone get... Oh, here it is. Yo, Ryan, thank you so much for the $10. I'm going to get a Chipotle bowl tomorrow. Let's go. Thank you, Ryan. Am I crazy for starting to like the vibe of Michigan State's bracket? I love the Louisville match for us. I think UConn is a good draw over Houston or Iowa State, and Duke looks vulnerable without Foster. In a way, yeah. But do you want to see UCLA again? UCLA looked pretty good against Sparty. And UConn, Michigan State is great at blowing up, defending good post players, guarding ball screens, just being so connected in the right spots. When I was at the Michigan State UCLA game, and I was so impressed with just how connected that defense was. Seeing it live, you're just like, everyone is in the right spot. There are no real mistakes, right? And they wall up at the rim. UConn, it's a lot of off-ball stuff. It's Terrace Reed setting screens for Mullins, for Ball, for Caravan, in some really complex motion. So it's a different kind of guard. UConn is probably favored by 2 points in that game. But no, Michigan State is live to make the Final Four. And thank you again so much for the Chipotle Bowl, which is white rice, sometimes brown. I like the honey chicken. We're going, what is it, carne asada or whatever the other chicken is, the new chicken. No, the pastor, the al pastor. We'll go pico, corn, cheese. If the app tells me I have free guac. And if the app tells me free chips. Did I say corn, pico, cheese, and then lettuce if I'm not taking it to go, if I'm eating in the store? Rate my bowl. Dude, I live in Chicago. I can get in and out for like $10.50. Oh yeah. Chipotle still like that. And you got to smile and be friendly, so they give you your better portions. I'm a no beans guy, but maybe I need to start doing that. There's good protein in beans. I don't know, man. They just paid him. They just extended him. You don't want Steinbach? Yeah, I don't think it makes sense there. Well, tell me who you do want, Will. Any players in the first day up their draft stock? I don't like to be too reactionary, but maybe Tyler Tanner. He played awesome. Maybe Price Sanford. Price Sanford's probably my answer for that. I think he's an NBA player, and he had a great game. What do you think is the problem with Wisconsin the last couple tournaments? I think it's that Matt said this. Their offense is inverted in the sense of the guards are the ones getting the shots at the rim than the bigs. It's just a little bit more like you play a worse opponent, and you don't necessarily control shot volume or control looks at the rim. But that there's so much upside to having an Austin Rapp who can hit 6 threes, a Bielauskis who can hit 6 threes, Winter and everything he can do. And having Boyd and Blackwell is probably the top 5 backcourt at the worst in the country, maybe top 3. So I don't know. It has become a pattern at this point, but obviously they've been really good a lot of these years and had really good guard play. I wonder what could look different in the future with them. Excuse me. Maybe a bit of, I don't know. I'm not gonna say that. Very off the cuff reaction, but didn't have much faith in Illinois. You think that was match to defend it? I think they're going to beat VCU. Probably not. Last time, 2 years ago, they played Duquesne in the second round, an 11-seeded Atlantic 10 team. That wasn't as good of a team in the second round and beat the brakes off them. The Houston matchup is really interesting, but there's angles there where you can look at Illinois as that setting up. Oh, Naperville, dude. That's crazy out there. That's different out there. Yeah, I mean, they're so good. Maybe Kentucky can buy anyone, so it depends what he's looking for, but I think Blackwell likes it at Wisconsin. Appreciate you, yup. That's a crazy profile picture. I already talked about this one. I'm definitely leaning UCLA, but I see ways where UCLA has a problem. Yeah, I made a video about this today. It's on Twitter. Absolutely. I was Team Darren for a while, but AJ did everything you could possibly want to see from him this year. I don't know if I'm good enough. I don't know if am capable of that. I would love to be like a GM for a college team. That would be fun. I think I could do that. I think I could do that right now, to be honest. But I got more to learn. I stay humble. But at the very least, I would love to coach like kids in the future, you know. My kids. Or other people's kids. I don't know, but whatever. I just think it's fun. I used to coach summer camp, and it was really fun. Like when I was 18, I coached like 6-year-olds, 8-year-olds. It was really fun. My number one coaching philosophy was some of these kids just cannot make shots. They're 8 years old. They can't dribble. Maybe they can make a layup, but probably not. So how do I make use of them? Psychologically get them to buy into defending and rebounding. Because if you have a kid that's not good, if you're not on him, like he might not do anything in the game. He might not touch the basketball. He might be in la la land defensively. But if I would pull this kid aside and I go, yo, he was short. I was like, go get me a rebound. And then I was like, you better go get me a rebound. And he would just be a monster on the glass. So I just think that kind of stuff is fun to like get the most out of people. And just show guys working together. It would fire me up so much when a kid would make a good pass. Like when I'd have my best player just dribble, and they'd sometimes go shoot. And it's like, come on, pass the ball. When you start to see them make the unselfish play and trust the teammates, like I always think that's so rewarding and cool. Yeah, I'll change it all the time. I got like 40 records over there. So I'll definitely keep changing it. Give you guys a little taste of what kind of music I like. Yeah, I don't think Josh should stop you from picking who you want because he has no trade value, right? I'm not saying he's cooked for real, but if he doesn't have no trade value, then can you really treat him as a franchise cornerstone right now? Your franchise cornerstones are Zach Edey and Cedric Coward and my boy Jalen Wells, you know. Illinois strong. I think Virginia could make a Final Four. I think all the twos are good. I think the top 10 teams are really good. I think it kind of Gonzaga is the cutoff. I think the top 11 teams are really good. Maybe Arkansas is the 12th best team. I've already talked about this one. I'm sorry, Arbery. You just heard my yawn again. But UCLA is a way better team. UCF has some matchup problems. Could they get on transition, bully them a little bit on the inside? I don't know. The best player available. I'm not fully in draft mode yet. Yeah. I don't know, man. It's tough to lose a coach like that. Who do you get instead of him? Is always the question. Like, do you want to run someone out the door if it's going to be backwards for a little bit before it goes forward? I think Wagler has positional size. You can play him off the ball. Super high processor. Actually a pretty good defender, even if he's a little thin. Acuff, if he's really good and becomes like a Kyrie level complimentary superstar, just stud scorer, takes care of the ball, good passer, gets by guys, hits threes. Like, there's of course a world where that happens to Acuff, but there's a world where there's a lot of guards that go in the lottery that doesn't click with, you know, because they're just not good enough defensively, or they go to the wrong team, or they don't shoot it well enough. Based on Cal's track record, I think it's probably going to work out with Acuff, but I understand the concerns with him. No, I didn't. I'm pretty tapped out of the NBA at this time of year. My Twitter timeline's all college basketball. So I got to catch up. Making 8-year-old play Rodman. Yeah, dude. You got to get him working. Yeah, dude. Like, go make yourself useful. And then really fire people up when they do something for the team, right? Like, I don't care if some kid shucks up a three and makes it. Like, that is luck. None of these kids were good enough to be like actual regular 3-point shooters. What was crazy though, some of the 11 and 12-year-olds. Oh my God. I need to figure out the camera. Appreciate everyone saying patience. But yeah, you got to get people fired up for making team plays and want guys to make team plays. It also makes you think of Arizona as a team where like Think about how fun it would be to be a role player in Arizona, whether you're Delorso or a Waka or Karchankov. Like, it's just rewarding because you're on a winning team and everything you do like is just winning plays. You get easy buckets because you run out in transition and stuff. It's fun to be a role player, and winning's fun. Puddles, what are you talking about? The chalk. We almost had Duke go down today. High Point won. VCU won. We'll see what happens later in the tournament, but sure. I think it's more so like maintaining players in college, teams getting super old. Money doesn't buy wins. Kentucky is the expensive roster. They could lose tomorrow. So I'm lucky. I have synergy, so I can access any game and filter different things out, like some of those deep stats Matt was saying. But Torvik is the other one I use. I'm trying to get more into CBB analytics and shot quality, but it's basically just watching film. Ken Palm, Evan Mia. Thank you for the tip, UT Javi. Let's focus on Gonzaga though first, but shout out Austin Gooseby. Yeah, I see. Shout out Paul. I was a big Thunder fan as a kid. And when Paul George was on the Thunder, he was so fun to watch. But yeah, it's tough. Well, middle schoolers what's tougher about middle schoolers is like they're a little more cocky. They're a little bit more dickheads. You know, the 8-year-olds, like you could like threaten them a little bit and they feared you a little more. When they're middle school, they realize they can push back and get away with stuff. They're a little more egotistical. Tough age. No way. I got another Chipotle bowl coming through from Acidic Spinach 8199. Thank you so much. Loving the Mask Cover Show. You've been having a summer league opening weekend last year. You're the GOAT. Thank you, Acidic Spinach. Are you the kid that went to Marquette? Or did I see you by the Hanson Yang pole, the Yang pole? Let me know, Acidic Spinach. But I really appreciate that, and there will be a lot more coverage. Tournament-wise, have upsets. The real casual is really good mid-major teams. Yeah, and also the problem of you can't keep those guys. Like Belmont, in the last few years, has had Jacoby Gillespie, Malik Dia, Drew Sharnowski, Tyler Lundblade, Will Richard. Like, imagine if all those dudes stayed at Belmont, they would have been cracked. They would have been like a 4 seed, you know? And that was also when their leagues would be better. Like when 2014 Wichita is in the Valley, they're playing Indiana State, Bradley. These teams rank better. Like the leagues weren't tanked metric-wise. So it does kind of suck. And the fact that Miami, Ohio, even if Miami, Ohio played a few games in non-conference, if they went undefeated with like a couple Q1 wins, they're probably like a 4 seed, not even like a 1. So this is the real question. Wait, what's the real question? What's the best way to start watching college basketball 1 next year? Here's what I would say, Bo Espinal. I hope everyone's listening. Of course you're listening because you're here. I would pick one league, and that's your league that you're really going to follow and understand. I'd probably pick a power league. I'd pick the SEC, the ACC, the Big 10, or the Big 12. I guess the Pac-12 is coming back. But know that league inside and out. And then just like keep up as best you can with like the best teams in the sport. But it's so much more digestible because you're familiar with all these teams. Like you got 16 teams, like you know who the players are. You understand a little bit about the styles and the coaches. My struggle is I can't watch every game. And I hate talking about teams when I haven't watched them because at the end of the day, there's people watching them who, whether they are me and they have a following or they don't, that know basketball. And the worst thing I want to come on is talk to you guys about Utah State. And then someone's like, this dude doesn't know anything about Utah State, right? Transparently, I've watched Utah State like 4 or 5 times this year, and I saw them live, which helps. And I like talked to Mason Falsev and Carson Templin, which was really dope. But yeah, I would say start small. Like pick a league to focus in on. Like they also play on certain days of the week. Like if you're a Big 10, it's like Thursday, Friday, there's a couple games. Sunday, there's a game. Saturday, there's a marquee game. And it's like, I'm going to catch the Big 10 games. Or if you have a favorite team, understand that league. Lock into a team in the league. I think it makes it much easier because you start to feel like you get it. And then there's community in there of like, I think it's so cool on Twitter how there's communities like, there's like a Seton Hall community, a Province community. And like those people watch every game and they know basketball. Because think about it. Whether like me, you like do this stuff like a lot, or you just like a fan and you played basketball, or maybe you didn't even play basketball, you just love it. You can make observations, you know. Example, watching Noah Williams on Alabama, you're like, that dude's not very good. You don't need to be a genius to figure that out. Or, you know, Terrence Hillday, you're like, that guy's pretty good. You know, or you know what, this team looks better when they're hitting threes, or this team looks better when they're getting to the rim, or this team looks better when they're forcing turnovers. You just pick up on things when you watch a team. And I love to trust my eyes. And the only way I can do that is if I watch a lot of games. So yeah, Will, there's a chance for sure, because we've seen them play up against Michigan, Iowa State, some of those teams that are more athletic than them. Michigan State overwhelmed them, but it probably gets out of hand. But with Bennett, Sturts, and McCollum, they have a chance against anyone. Yeah, but the thing is, SJav, you're going to keep Crop, West, Singleton. Those guys want to be there. You'll probably lose KJ Wyndham and Max Green. They weren't playing anyway, but guys want to stay there, play 4 years. You have models of Bowie, of Martinelli, of Barnheiser, of Tiberi, that it's a great idea to be at Northwestern. It's going to be good for you in your career. So as long as they can summon up enough money to keep those guys and not get poached. But like if let's say Kentucky said, Trey Singleton, we'll give you $1 million, and Northwestern's like, we can get you to 300, he'd probably take the 300 to stay at Northwestern, because that's where he wants to be. And you don't go to Northwestern as like a leapfrog program, I feel like. Answer that. Best defender in this draft, Malik Brown. I don't know if it was going to get drafted, but maybe Caleb Wilson. Kevin Young. I disagree. I think he's really good. I think him being on the NBA and understanding spacing and understanding how to get the most out of stars, I think he's a big reason why AJ got better this year. How did I meet Kenny P, Mike, and D Mills? I used to work at the Bulls. I got a job with the Chicago Bulls that I applied for on LinkedIn, which is crazy, to be a associate video editor. And then that was a 9-month program that ended. And I just found a job posting with Enjoy Basketball, hit one of my friends at the Bulls who was like familiar with Kenny. He DM'd him, met Kenny, and then got the job. And then we've just become friends since, and it's been awesome. I'm very lucky to work with those guys. They're fantastic people. Thank you again to Citic Spinach. Some of my favorite college hoops of all time. Kemba Walker. I was at the step back. That's Kemba jersey back there. I was at the step back game. I was 11 years old. Shabazz Napier. I grew up a UConn fan. Who else? Bryce Cotton at Providence. Make noise in the comments if you know Bryce Cotton. Bryce Cotton was so good. Kiefer Sykes at Green Bay. That was when I started to become a sicko. I was like 14, 15. And I wanted to pick a mid-major team that I thought early on in the season would make the tournament. And I picked Green Bay, and they lost in their conference championship to Valparaiso, or maybe it was the semi, and I was so upset, like on the verge of tears, because I really wanted Kiefer Sykes to play in the tournament. Alfonso McKinney from the Warriors was on that team too. Those are some of my favorites. Tyler Dorsey at Oregon. I had Oregon as my champion that year. They were a 3 seed. Chris Boucher got injured right before the tournament. Everyone was out on them, and I was like, nah, Jordan Bell's good. Like, they're good enough. And they made the Final Four. And they should have beat North Carolina before that was the Chris Jenkins shot year, but loved Tyler Dorsey. Yeah, that's how it started for me. What started for me was I loved March Madness so much that I was like, I want to know more about these teams. So then I just started watching earlier, and every year I became more of a sicko until now. Like, it started like late high school. It's like, okay, I started following Green Bay, following a little bit more mid-majors, trying to figure out sleepers for March. Then it would be like senior year of high school. I'm like in class, like in stats class, watching Nevada tape. There was this channel on YouTube called Matthew Knows Ball that would just post these like 30-minute cut downs of games, not just like extended highlights, like more, but it was like randomly cut because it was a bot. And I was like, oh, Nevada's ranked. They got a couple of these twins, the Cody and Caleb Martin. Like, let me check them out. Let me see what they're all about. I started wanting to get eyes on more teams. I just explained that, but I assume you were here for that. But yeah, I got super lucky. I literally just applied for a job. I know. 1 a.m. Central too. I know. Who's Eastern time? Anyone here? Yeah, I know. Yeah, it was definitely a good first season with Sean Miller for sure. I already got to that. But yeah, I think the outlook's positive because I think he's that good of a coach. They almost did, man. I posted the clip that changed the game. Whatever you're laughing at, Drew, I appreciate you. Oh, and also pick the Big 12. Yeah, pick the Big 12. I got 3 Big 12 teams in my Final Four. In front of camera, it's all reps. I've been doing this on and off for 3 years. Barely 3 years ago. I still don't think I'm that good sometimes, but I say and like, and a little bit less than before. And I've just felt comfortable to be myself, which I think is an advantage. Like, I'm literally just chilling right now, and it's cool that I'm interacting with y'all. In front of interviewing, I had a couple moments where my heart was just da-dum, da-dum, da-dum. You can't really see it. Boom, 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 boom. that still happens sometimes. Pierre made fun of me. I didn't even really have it. Like when I asked Anthony Edwards a question at All-Star, it was just because I was in this room of like 200 people. So, and I didn't know exactly what my question was, and I wasn't expecting to get called on. So I was just a little nervous, but you realize it's just, like when I'm talking to Trent Perry this week, I'm like, he's just a kid. Like he's super nice. Like he's cool. Like it was easy. I was just talking hoop with him, so just feeling more comfortable in myself, but being prepared is number one, because if I go into an interview and I'm not prepared, that's when I start to get nervous and I'm thinking about my question versus letting the conversation flow. If I'm prepared, I know everything about Trent Perry or Victor Valdez, then I'm just flowing, whatever comes to mind. Yep, I sure have. If you search my name on Twitter and Tyler Tanner, you'll see I was tweeting about him November of his freshman year. I love being early on guys, and I was early on him and Christian Anderson. Someone was always earlier, but I was early on them. What was my worst pick of the day? Probably Troy, but honestly, St. Mary's, because I was debating that game all week, and I knew that she was going to upend, that I was going to pick the wrong team because my gut was A&M. On my instant reaction bracket video, I said, I don't know, man, A&M. For sure, I think that's the way to beat Florida, is to beat them in the half-court game, unless you're Vandy and you can force them into a lot of turnovers. Iowa forced a lot of turnovers too. I think Iowa's a live dog to beat Florida. I really do. He should scare you because he's so good. He's going to go for 30. Let's go. Brazil, we're international. Is that a Quasimodo profile picture? That's dope. Shout out to you, Artur. And shout out to the international fans. Ball knower. Iowa to beat Clemson is my number one pick of the day. Steve Pikiell's a good coach, but I don't know. They kind of sold their soul to get Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper. I don't know if they bounce back. Ooh, I loved that team. That was the first Final Four I went to. I went with my family. It was really cool. Yeah, Draper. Bryce Cotton. Pride of Tucson. Crazy pulls. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. What's my favorite player archetype? I mean, you notice a lot of scoring guards kind of there. I like guards who can create a three for themselves off the dribble, but aren't ball hawks. Like our playmakers, if that makes sense. Like I'm not a Caleb Love guy, but I like Christian Anderson. You know what I'm saying? Playmakers, but guys who can do cool things behind the arc. Tyler Tanner, playmaker. Hey, just so you know, Deeg, not to rain on parade, day one doesn't mean anything. All that matters is your Final Four and your champion, but it's fun to be in first. So shout out to you. I've never been in first early on. I never am. Did I work with the team at Wake? I covered the team for the school paper. So that's how I started getting into media, and I built my Twitter account and went from there. Yeah. Oh, for sure. Shoot to rock, because you know the teams. It's fun to be there for March. Also, let me say this. People get mad when the casuals come. The whole reason that college basketball is awesome, the whole reason that we are all interested in college basketball is because we were at one-time casuals. Because I loved March so much, I said, let me start in November, to shoot to rock's point. So we got to welcome the casuals, because you got to start somewhere. Shout out Matthew Knows Balls in the Draftmatic. Those are the YouTube accounts that's where I could only find film, because YouTube didn't ever post full games. Like, it was so hard to find film on teams. And I bet, Bobby, you were using those accounts to get a film for your YouTube videos. I'm going to get you on the channel too, Bobby, if you're down. I was root for what guys? Oh, Nevada. Yeah. I mean, they've had some fun teams. Frank Mason's dog. Why do I think the Big 12 is so good? Because they have really good programs and players, which is, I don't mean to be annoying, but like Kansas, historic program, Bill Self. You can get guys like Darren Peterson. Iowa State, just a great program. Otzelberger runs a great ship. Kelvin Sampson built that program up. Texas Tech has a lot of money, has a great coach. Who am I forgetting? BYU has a lot of money. I believe in Kevin Young. I like him. So yeah, even programs like Kansas State, UCF, Arizona State, all these teams can have good years too. Colorado, I think Tab was a good coach. Yeah, that was so tough. Legend. Shout out West Coast. Right. No, that makes sense. I grew up a Big East guy, so I would always put the Big East teams far in my bracket. Yeah, dude, it is a vibe. I'm having fun. I'm getting sleepy. I don't know. This was not the plan to go this long. They did. That was awesome. Yep. I hate when I do that too. It's literally the worst. It's fun to be in person for sure. It was so cool to be on Welsh Ryan Court with Nick. This is on my YouTube channel, by the way, if you want to watch it. But Trent Perry was and Victor were super cool virtual as well. I think they both have their places. Christian was like a little tougher because it was like in a small area and like people passed through. That was the only knock on that. But like, it's cool to like dap him up and be like, "What's up, bro?" and like talk to him a bit outside the interview. Yeah, Quasimodo. Probably Michigan, but we talked about the wrinkles that St. Louis has to do it. Everyone's asked about this game. I lean Santa Clara just vibes wise. I don't really have a good basketball breakdown on it, to be honest. Kentucky's more athletic. Yeah, and Clemson wants it to be a slow half court pace game, and I was very comfortable in that game. What are you mad about, Draper? Caleb Love, probably. Yeah, exactly. No, I'm not anti Caleb Love anymore. I love all basketball players. I enjoy basketball. Another time. I don't know if I want to do that right now. Thank you, Bobby. Scotty ball knower. Yes, I was 9 years old for that year. Scotty Runs hit the game winner. You remember Levance Fields shoot the rock? That was like one of my first favorite players when I was super young. I had this Big East magazine, and like I would just like the players who I liked their vibe if they had a cool name and they looked cool. Levance Fields. I haven't screen shared this whole time. Let me do a quick screen share to put everyone on to Levance Fields. This dude was so tough. Levance Fields. Tough, undersized guard. Stocky. Stud. SEC is the best league. I think it's the Big 12, but I'm actually not mad at this. I think it was the deepest league. Super balanced. Like your Missouris of the world, your Texas of the world, even your Oklahomas who didn't make the tournament, that pocket of the conference was really strong. Yeah, I mean, I just watch. I'm flip-flopped. I love the NBA playoffs. I just monitor the regular season. I don't really watch much NBA live. It's just too long, and some of the games just don't matter. You know, every college game matters. Like Missouri playing Oklahoma. If Missouri doesn't hit a buzzer beater, they're probably out of the tournament. Oklahoma's in it. Like every game matters. NBA, it's just not like that in the regular season. That's my biggest thing. The coach, they got a lot of good new coaches in the league this year. I think there's still some more to get. Like imagine if a Nate Oates is at Carolina instead of Hubert. That changes it. What was my favorite game from day one? VCU. That was awesome. Yeah, they'll get there. Yeah, I know, but it was just tough. So grateful we did get to watch him, you know. Everyone's healthy. Trent Perry told me. What better source is that? Yeah, Chris has got you. My advice would be there's such a low barrier to entry right now to like make content. At the very least, like just be on Twitter and like talk to people, you know. That's how I made a lot of friends in the space, and just be in people's replies. And I don't really read my DMs. I've started to get a lot of DMs lately. I should probably go through them, but if you love it and you're tapped into it and you're watching all the time, like just try something. Just tweet your thoughts. Like that's the first thing I did was just tweet my thoughts, or start a Substack and just put some stuff out there, or do a green screen video. Like just try something. And who cares if no one watches it at first, or you have no followers, you're tweeting to the void. That's what I was doing. I was tweeting to the void for like a year. But all of a sudden it's like, whoa, 5 likes. Let's go. And then all of a sudden, I'm about to have 13,000 followers on Twitter. I was tweeting to the void for a year and I just didn't care because I love it. It didn't bother me. Mizzou. I made a whole video about this on my channel, so check that out. But Mizzou. Probably the one, Let's Drive to Vegas, the one where he's in front of the car. Probably that one. Thank you, Arthur. Yeah, it's fun, man. We love casuals. Yeah, dude, that was the best. Tyler Ennis, that was the end of it. Michael Carter Williams, Brandon Trish, Scoop Jardine, Fab Mello, James Sutherland. I kind of answered this. I don't really have like a team I'm like a fan of at this point, but like I went to Wake. I grew up a Providence and UConn fan. Yeah, you guys get a room. It's gonna be really hard. Tennessee's the best offensive rebounding team in the country. They're probably gonna crush them in the class. I'm kind of out on them. Just bad vibes. But shout out to them for at least getting to a 7 seed. I thought it was going to be worse. I forget what I did, but you're welcome. No, I mean, I don't love some of the byproducts of NIL, but all the players were getting paid before, like I remember I knew an Arkansas team manager. There was a player, Isaiah Moss, who transferred from Iowa to Kansas. There goes my camera again. And I remember he told me Isaiah Moss was going to go to Arkansas, but then Isaiah Moss's like uncle called and said, oh, like, sorry, like Kansas is giving us $300,000, which at the time was like a ton. And it's like Arkansas couldn't do that because it was just a different time. And so all that schemey stuff was happening. They just didn't get caught. That's why I feel bad for Will Wade. Like Will Wade was just doing whatever else was doing. Yeah, I'm going live tomorrow, apparently, because you guys just keep rocking it. Yeah, you're right. I'm going to shut this down in 5 minutes. All right. Appreciate all of you guys. Good pull. CJ Fair. Deion Waiters. Thoughts on how far Illinois will go after tonight's game? I think they could totally beat Houston to make the Final Four, but I think I lean Houston that game too. Yep. Mark Mitchell's that guy. For King Christmas. Oh my God, dude. I was at the Miami-Wichita State game in Providence in the 2016 March Madness tournament. Yeah, my camera wants me to just stop streaming. But I was at that game. Wichita had a crazy comeback. I made a video on that game. It's like, go to my shorts page, and I like made a video summarizing that game. Angel Rodriguez went nuts against Ron Baker and Fred. Did I play at Wake? That's it. I'm so honored that you asked that. I wasn't even a good high school player. I stopped playing basketball after my freshman year. So that's embarrassing, but now I play pickup and I'm a good role player. All right. The camera's dying. I appreciate all. But yeah, exactly. Okay. We're peacing out. It's been real. It was a blast. Y'all rock. More content on the way. Day 1 in the books. Appreciate all of you. And thank you for everyone who donated, gave me money. That's so sick. Cool. Thank you guys. Bye.